Alright, welcome guys, welcome. Sorry, I just wanted to turn the air conditioner on. I've done my back yet again. Gosh, it's annoying. I've sort of got slip discs in my lower back, and I twinge them every so often. It's been probably over a year actually since I did it last time. Anyway, it's not fun. God, everything's going to hell, isn't it? Anyway, let's keep on going. We're going to be playing some Field of Glory Kingdoms today. The reason I wanted to play it is I just don't really understand aspects of the game. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quit for a second because I want to make sure I've got the... I'm just going to open up my PDF viewer and rule the waves, Shadow Empire. What I want to do is just going to go and add in open up the... I don't think I've got it in there for Field of Glory. I just wanted to make sure, because I really wanted to try to get an understanding today, basically, of how to play with authority. And I mean authority within the game, not with me being authoritative in the game. Let's just go back into... I don't actually have it in there. I'm just going to go and open. I find this a really handy way to play these complex games, is to actually have I really quite like this. This is Sumatra PDF is a free PDF viewer. It's actually it's very minimalistic, which allows you to just search for what you need, do what you have to do, and that it really is it's a bare bones system. So I'll just go with Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, Field of Glory Kingdoms, Manuals. Now I've got the ebook and the printer friendly one. I'll go with the printer-friendly one, I think. There we are. So we've now just got it in there. Actually, that's double spreads. I might just go back out of that one. File open. Try the ebook one. What's that one? Yeah, it's better. That's better. All right, so we'll just go that way. I'll just get rid of the printer-friendly version. That way we can... just have a look at what we need to be looking at when there's something coming up, because there's a lot of complex systems within Field of Glory Kingdoms, and as I said before, I do want to... I really enjoy the game a lot, but I don't fully understand how certain mechanics work, and I've run the old game into the dirt. If I go in and load my game, what am I up to? Well, I tried playing a little bit further just to see what would actually... No, that was actually... I was trying a different one as well. This is actually just the other day. So it's something I do want to actually try to understand. So if anyone is watching and has tips, please say so in the chat. Hi Steve, how you going? Hi, anybody else has joined us as well. Hi, Star. So, just a few little things in through here. One thing is, you'll notice that the font is different to the base game. I've got a mod that changes the font to make it a little bit larger, and for me, a little bit more legible. So, that's available on my coffee.com /DasTactic page. If you want it for free, you can just download it from there and install it. It essentially just overrides a couple of little font files, and also adds some fonts into your system to be used. This is actually one where I've this particular game. We're doing well in terms of the like if we look at that's the domains overlay. What have we got? The ownership overlay, and through here, we've actually got like a large portion. We've been able to build up a lot. In this particular game, and we've taken over some enemy terrain in through this other side. We have like like really the enemy has just got like one little area left over with what they're actually doing, but my authority is just not up to scratch. You can see I've got a planned authority change as -0.3. This is a trouble, and it's sort of one of these things with it's a hard concept to actually grasp in the game. And if we have a look at the authority, this is actually the problem we have is if I go to the nation panel and then look at authority and disorder, we're down in the bottom here. Actually, that's not really the best way to look at this one. This one is going to be, it's not legacy, is it? It's not going to show us. No, it's not legacy. There's a lot of mechanics in the game that sort of, that do push things over. It's just not, actually, where is it? It's not that one there. What we're trying to avoid is becoming an unstable duchy, where there's a lot of negatives that then sort of come in and makes the game start to cascade downwards. So losing authority essentially means that you end up losing your position. And so at the moment we're a stable duchy. We're just on the way down to an unstable duchy. We're literally one click off from that actually happening. And so this is something that I am trying to avoid. And where is it? There's diplomacy, Christian. It's funny, I thought it was it's legacy changes. If I just click on authority, there's nothing there either. I thought it was this screen here. This is actually just taking me down to authority back into here. But we're in the bottom rung with what's actually happening through here. So this is the overall authority rank, but what we really are looking at is this area over here. We're at 53, and the people who are sort of ahead, like, and there is a decimal point system that sort of is running in through this other side. The other groups that are actually in here are, and they're not telling me what the how many we've got. I don't think. Oh, there's the tokens. Yeah, we're at -4. -5 means we then descend backwards. So sorry, this is not the best way of looking at this particular screen, but this one here, we've just got a little bit, we had a plus 0.2 overall authority change to give us to 53. But we need to be up into at least into the 54s. And you can see there that it doesn't change that much. You know, like even when we get up to the group that is actually ascending, they're at 60. So they're only 6 ahead of us. So it's a very minimalistic in this into the dirt. I've got no hope of actually getting back from where I am. What I can do is get out of the war, and the war will then sort of change things. And if I hover over the authority, so this is just to sort of show what's happening. You can see there, planned authority changes. Our domain size, I've actually got too much stuff. So that's a big problem. Special structures, we do actually have some structures that are giving us a boost to our authority, which is actually the way to handle authority. And sedition from nobility, this is because we're over 50 points. So we lose 1 point because we're over 50. So additional change from last turn, battles won. So we do win authority through battles. Current domain size of 10. Required domain size for realm change is 12. And the maximum domain size for authority gain is only 6. So I've actually got 10. I've been too greedy in the game, and so I need to offload them, but I can't actually. There's nothing I can offload. I don't actually have enough control over the various provinces. So I have run this one completely into the dirt. I think I could have played that one a little bit better. Okay, so Good Elgin is saying, is there a sound problem? It doesn't look like it to me. I'm looking at my microphone. My microphone levels are high. In fact, too high. I'm actually clipping. I'm clipping out through the red, which is where I like to keep it, to be honest. Yes, Hugh's saying sounds good to me. I'll even joining it. There we go. So Good Elgin is saying yes, it is working. That's good. That's good. Anyway, so I thought what we might do is this time, because I didn't really worry about authority, and it really is so. It can be so devastating, and you can see down through here. I'm actually losing my manpower is also negative at this point in time, which is terrible. My metal production is terrible as well. So I thought we might just start again, and this time play properly. And so it means we're not going to be doing as much stuff. Hi Quark, how you going? And so, yeah, Cygnus on Twitch is then saying sounds good to me. Yeah, no, all the levels are showing like that it's actually doing fairly well. The desktop audio though, oh yeah, no, that's clicking in. That's okay. I've got it so that when I talk, the desktop audio drops by a certain percentage, and yeah, that seems to be working as well. So audio-wise, I think everything is good. So let's go back out to the main menu and just get started. So this is actually with the Burghers and Bombards DLC. The reason I really like this DLC is because we've got to start for the 1200s. So I can just go back to the scenarios. There's a fair few in here now that we can sort of go and play. Actually, before I start, I'm just going to go back out again and quit. And I just want to make sure that I'm not playing like a special version of the game. I just want to make sure I'm just playing the stock standard. So just bear with me. Sorry, guys. Library. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's okay. I don't think there's any sort of opt-in any things you can do in through here. Just go to properties, game versions. There is a public beta, but see how it's old. So we don't want that one. This is April 24 is the one that we want to be using. So that's fine. All right. So that's all of those things now double checked. Also, if you are going to be wanting to play the game, I do recommend that you do get Field of Glory 2 Medieval to play the battles, or to play some of the battles. You don't have to have it, but I really enjoy the battles in the tabletop scenario. So, we've got the late campaign, which is now, this is the Burghers and Bombards aspects. We do have a mega campaign, which takes us all the way through from the 1000s all the way into the gunpowder era. So this is a much longer one than the standard the standard campaign, which the grand campaign here of 1054 stops in the 1200s. So it stops essentially where the other one does to sort of pick up. So this one only goes for 440 turns, whereas the mega campaign now starts back in the High Middle Ages, not the Late Middle Ages. And so we start in the High Middle Ages and sort of work our way through the Late Middle Ages to the gunpowder era, so 1492. So it's a fairly long period with a lot of updates that are sort of happening in through here as well. But I really, really like the late campaign. I was going to say this is actually really the start of the high medieval era, and we find that there's a lot of technology that changes pretty early in this particular phase. Yeah, length 6 out of 5 because it really is long. But it does, like, depending on how you want to play the game, it's sort of one of these things where, and if you, again, I might just, look, I'm in no rush, so let's go and do a deeper dive into what you actually get and why I like the difference between these. Again, if we go back out, I'm going to quit yet again. This is the third time I've quit. I'm going to open up Field of Glory 2 Medieval because we're going to be playing some of the battles in this one. And so Field of Glory 2 Medieval came before Field of Glory Kingdoms, but and they work together. And so they've been sort of developed. Kingdoms has been developed to, and the Byzantine games have actually been sort of tweaking the way that their game works with Kingdoms. So you can play the battles out in this other way. If I just go into battles and I just go into custom battle, what this one will give you is it'll sort of show you what the order of battle is in Kingdoms. So even though this is actually just the actual one where you fight, this one doesn't really have a campaign, which is sort of why Kingdoms is so good, because Kingdoms provides the campaign structure for you then to play the battles out in medieval. So this is purely just a tabletop experience. So pick your army. If you go back into here, you'll see that you've got like a date period. So if I go to 1000s and scoot this one down to between 1000 and 1100, so this is essentially where we're sort of starting. And if we go to, for example, we've got like Anglo-Norman from 1072. This is after the start that we actually have. So I don't think I can actually move that one. No, I can't move that one any further back. So I've got things, like from A to Z. I've got the sort by date, so we can sort of go through and just sort of see the actual date for the different locations. Now I think it was 1050 something that we start with. So a lot of these will actually be sort of where they need to be. Like we've got and I'll just choose sort of around England. Actually, Normans and those sorts of things would actually be fairly good as well, like Normandy. Actually, let's just go back to A to Z again. If I go back to, I don't know if Normandy is actually in here. It might be called something else. Norman, there we go. The Norman group there. So this is the William the Conqueror sort of pack, essentially, with what he actually brings to the party. So this is going to be so if we have a look and see what this particular order of battle brings, we then sort of see that we've got knights and sergeants. Now these are pre heavy knights. So these are not your knights in shining armor. These are just essentially sort of like mounted. They are still knights, but they're nowhere near as heavy as the heavy knights that come in the late Middle Ages. So these are essentially got capabilities there. You can see there it's got like knightly lancers and swordsmen. Essentially is what they do. So they come in with a lance. They do have swords. They're still heavy. You can see the armor is they're armored, and so we get a lot of things we can sort of see from there. Also, the number that you get through there is still a lot. The Normans have got like a lot of capabilities in the sense of what they can then sort of bring in. So this is actually a fairly sort of high-powered sort of force that's coming back in. They then actually have like a lot of just dismounted knights and sergeants. So these are still fairly heavy at this point in time. Defensive spearmen, peasants, crossbowmen. So they do actually have some crossbowmen in here as well. Archers coming back in, light archers, etc. If we have a look at the at Harold's forces as an example, if I just go and close that one off and go back to the the English. So this is the English of 1066 in through there. So that is actually exactly the invasion, the anti-invasion forces. So in this case we've got like these have only got like light spears. These are different again to the and you can see there's not very many of them. So mounted Huscarls. The Huscarls are a Viking sort of force or a proto-Viking type group, and so these so they use an axe when they're dismounted. So they can be dismounted. We do actually have like a lot of Huscarls as well. So these are actually got the battle axes, and so these are their troop quality is high. And their armor is armored again, and their capability here is with a heavy weapon. So these are and again, all these things have a bearing in how the game is actually then gone and played. Armored spearmen, in this case, they have offensive spearmen, raw spearmen. So this is actually a much more defensive infantry force than the Norman forces that they would be actually sort of fighting against. Light archers, slingers, etc., etc. So that's actually what they end up having. If we go back and have a look at the one just before that, which is the one that we'd be playing with if we were playing Kingdoms at the start, and have a bit of a look, we'll still see that they've actually got knights and sergeants in this case. So they haven't gone with all the mounted Huscarls. These are more powerful because of the knightly lances than what the mounted Huscarls have got. So by the time the 1066 fight came, we don't actually have any knights and sergeants, but you can see there that the difference in numbers between the Normans and even the Normans have got like a much higher rating in terms of their knights and sergeants and in quantity than what the English have at the early start. Huscarls, again, the French don't have those. Armored spearmen, the French don't have those, for example. We don't actually have crossbowmen. So there's a very, very different look to it. But this is all around the 1050 time period that we're sort of looking at through here. And again, I guess just to sort of follow that one on, we do actually have Danish forces which came in. Was it Danish or just it might be the what would it be? Who was it that they were fighting? Where are we? There's not too many to look at, but I'm trying to see where they are now. So it wasn't from Norway, but it's not. They're not the Norwegian. What are they? Anglo-Norman? It won't be that one. It might be the Irish. It might be under Irish Norman and Irish. It's Irish itself. No, that's not going to be right. There's the Italo-Normans. There's Norwegian. There they are. So that's the start there. Now, where does it go after that? That's interesting. Oh no, that's the one. This is the one that was where Harold was attacking initially, and so you can see there again, mounted Huscarls back in through here. More of them than what the British have. Huscarls, offensive spearmen, peasants, light archers. So much more sort of simple layout. So you can sort of see the difference in through there. If we go and close that and then just change our dates up to the 1200s, if I just go and bring that one up. So we then sort of get to see what we've then got. We'll then sort of find that the British will end up sort of being around. This is about our starting through here. If we have a look, we'll now sort of see that we've now got so many more different things that we now bring into the actual armies. So the armies are much more fleshed out. The knights and sergeants are still there. We still don't have the heavy knights of the French. So we've sort of got like a slightly lighter force that does sort of come through, but a lot of them now in the actual British Army, like of 200 years later. If we go back to the French force, because the Norman forces are no longer around, they've now been gobbled up by French. So if we have a look at the French forces for that period, we'll see, actually, they've still got knights and sergeants in through there. Yeah, so they're still actually these are, but see how they're now heavily armoured? So these are gone from armoured to heavily armoured, which makes a difference. Like these are not as manoeuvrable, but are much more heavy hitting. Mounted crossbowmen, for example, are sergeants. Sergeants are essentially your old knights and sergeants that you had, which is sort of just armoured. And so these are still lancers, they're swordsmen. These are a bit lighter, so they're a bit more manoeuvrable, and they do work well with the heavy knights. But the knights, even you see there in the graphic, is much more heavily armoured than what it was there before. Crossbowmen still there again. So the French forces are very much sort of very heavy in terms of the cavalry. So I quite like this period just because of what you get to play with essentially. So that's actually, I guess that's a very long-winded way of showing why I like playing in the late Middle Ages rather than just the High Middle Ages. I don't mind the High Middle Ages, but I do find that the 1200s just gives you everything is a little bit more heavy hitting when you sort of get into it. Right. Quark saying, I feel having playing the battles makes the game way easier. It is a bit, yes, it is a bit. Hi, Impaluco, how you going? And sadly, sieges aren't possible. Not in the battle system. They have to play. They're hard actually, no matter what you do. And Quark is saying it's kind of strange since most ancient medieval battles were sieges or related. Yeah, but this is essentially like where the focus of kingdoms is still to besiege, but the focus of the tabletop game is to actually have open battles. So sieges are not covered in Field of Glory 2 Medieval, but they are covered in Field of Glory Kingdoms. So we certainly have those as part of the system in here, where we can sort of then go and play them out. Hugh is then sort of saying on YouTube, is 1000 AD the earliest you can play? In terms of kingdoms, yes. And the reason for that, if I go back out again, we'll start yet again. I don't even know if I got it installed. Field of Glory Empires, here we go. So if we go back to, now in Field of Glory Kingdoms, it goes back to about 800. But in Field of Glory, in Field of Glory Medieval, if I go and open that one up, the earliest we have in this system is around 800, which is pretty much the early Middle Ages. And the early Middle Ages were really the Dark Ages had just finished. So if we go back into battles in through here, go back into custom battles, and I'll just sort of start this one at around about the year 800 to 900. If we just go back into pick your army, so 800 is the starting point for Field of Glory 2 Medieval. You can see down there. If I go back, can I go back further? No, see, I can't even go back further this way. It really is just wanting to just see if I can find something where we do actually have an 800 start. Let's just go to date. I don't think there's enough. The game it's got 800, but there's nothing much really in the 800s where we can actually pick it up. So even this game sort of really does sort of start at around about the 1000 mark, and essentially what it is that this is essentially where the like 1000 is Alfred the Great, like he was in the 900s as an example. So we do actually have, like, there should be English. We're not seeing the English earlier. They are modelled. Where's the English? Sorry, I'll just go back to A to Z. yeah, we're not sort of seeing it much more than that early sort of start there, even with the 800s. So we're not sort of really getting much in through that side. I thought we could. It's strange, actually. I'll just go back out, and I'll just go back out and quit. I thought that there were more packs that you could actually then go and play with. So if I just go back into, if I go to like the epic battles, what have they got? Feudal North, yeah, from 1050. So even this one is sort of starting at really at the, I don't think there's anything really here that's going to Storm of Arrows. These often have come from the actual battle packs. You know, so Storm of Arrows is like 1300s. So that's sort of more where we are. The Sublime Port is going to be closer to the gunpowder era. Swords and Scimitars is going to be the height of the this is 11th century. So even these sorts of things are sort of where they all are, like with where they are. Let's just go back again and exit yet again. Let's go back and quit the game. If I go and open up Field of Glory, just the original Field of Glory, where are we? Did I have? Yes, I've got Field of Glory 2. So this is actually the Ancients. Now the Ancients, what they did into here, if I just go and play this game, this is now oldish, but still very, very good. So we're now going further back in time, yet again. If we just go back into battles again, and go into custom battle, and so this particular game takes us up into the early Middle Ages. So if we go and pick our armies, you can see there from 2500 BCE all the way up to 1300 AD. So it takes us into actually even beyond the middle, the high Middle Ages. It's sort of so if I just put that down to this, pretty much the start of the other one, and then start to sort of boost this one up and bring it up, you can see there that we're sort of getting like the BCs. We're starting to sort of see different Anglo-Saxon forces from the Dark Ages coming in. Let's just get it up to say around about say 700 AD or even 800 AD. So this is the early Middle Ages, and so this game covers that. And so this is just Field of Glory, where we've got essentially the Anglo-Saxons, essentially before the English should have come. This is just beforehand. This is like Alfred the Great era. Back in through here, we can have a look at we've got mounted Huscarls again, sort of back in with what we actually had. Huscarls as spears, shield walls coming back through, raw shield walls, etc., etc. If we just close that one off, if we look at the French from this era and have a look at theirs again, we can see there we've got armored lances, and so these are still armored, but they're not as strong as the as where they sort of end up, like in the High Middle Ages. The High Middle Ages. Lances again, just sort of like again they're just protected. They're just wearing like very, very basic armor. Dismounted lances in through here, massed archers. So this is actually very much this is a different sort of approach again. So the early aspect is covered in the essentially in the kingdoms area. If we go and open up Field of Glory Empires, which is the empire. Why is that doing that one? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'll just go back out. Go back, and we'll just quit out of this. Quit the game. So that covers the Viking era essentially, and the Viking era really sort of it goes into the early Middle Ages. So the Vikings were really attacking in the early Middle Ages, and so that's sort of like more the era that sort of then is taken apart. And we do then have Field of Glory Empires, but this one is much more set prior to all of those other ones. If I just go and play this one, this is the precursor to Field of Glory Kingdoms. So essentially both games were developed sort of like together, essentially, in terms of the Field of Glory Empires was developed when Field of Glory 2 came out, which is dealing more with the ancient areas. So that you can see there, this is going from BCE. So we're not even looking at the Grand Campaign, for example. Either one of these ends in the still very much in the ancient era. This one here goes all the way up to 330 BCE. So this is actually a longer Grand Campaign that sort of had come back in as well. So that's actually so essentially you've got like these various other ways. This is empires again is the equivalent of kingdoms. Anyway, let's just go back, and I hope that makes sense. But they don't actually cover exactly the Viking era, the Dark Ages. So the Dark Ages have been skipped over to a large extent. I'll just go and quit out of there. And we will now go back to the fourth time into Fields of Glory Kingdoms. And so I hope that gives context as to how it also works. Now, there's I guess I should probably talk a little bit about the reasoning behind why it went from, because it used to, like the actual tabletop game, if you've, and I don't play that, but I know the different packs because I've been waiting for the different things to come. In the tabletop game, it doesn't split between medieval and ancients. What it does do, it extends the ancients through packs all the way up through the medieval period. So it actually covers the what Field of Glory 2 Medieval does. But what they did is they split the rule sets up between Field of Glory 2 Medieval and Field of Glory, just the Field of Glory 2, which was the more the ancient pack, because they've sort of had to tweak the rule set around the medieval period with knights, and so Field of Glory 2 Medieval is actually has just got like a bit of a different rule set with the actual computer game itself. So that's why it's split into two like that. But the actual board game is not. The rule sets are covered in the actual, in the tabletop itself, whereas these are a little bit different in terms of the actual computer games. And so Field of Glory Kingdoms then came after Field of Glory 2 Medieval was developed. And so these are different companies that build these, but they do work together. And so we'll just go and play. Let's get into it. Hi, Tenru, how are you going? So in that sort of sense, we now end up with Field of Glory Kingdoms. But I'm really, like, this Burghers and Bombards DLC allows us to play late Middle Ages, which again, it's been nearly half an hour of talking about why we're playing the High Middle Ages. But anyway, that's but I hope that puts it into context. Anyway, it's a pretty cool game. I think when you sort of see everything going on, also from the perspective of Field of Glory Kingdoms versus Field of Glory Empires, the empires have got like a different dynamic around how they work. So they don't use authority as their way of working, because they weren't feudal societies, whereas Field of Glory Kingdoms is much more going to model feudal societies, and so feudal societies have got like a much more intricate structure of nobility and the way that nobility works, and so authority is what they use to sort of figure out how things going on. There's I forget what it was called in Empires actually, but they had a similar. It was similar mechanic, but it wasn't quite as. It was just different to the way the authority works actually in this game, and so authority is really the thing that I do struggle with in this game a little bit. So I do want to try to learn how to game it, so I can sort of make sure that I don't end up in the situation that I ended up with when I was playing as Saxony. All right, so Mike Gillespie saying, I was excited about this game and bought it when Daz first featured it, but kept losing pretty early in the game. Just too hard for me, I'm afraid to say. I think this is sort of where my head's at as well. It's sort of one of these things where there's little things in it that I don't really fully get, and I think by losing my last, well, essentially I was going to be losing, but by losing the last one, I learned a lot from that, and so I sort of want to apply that this time. So we're going to go into scenarios. I'm going to be playing the late campaign from the late Middle Ages, so we're going to be sort of playing it from in here, and so the year is 1223, and much of the medieval world is unsettled. Now the technology starts to come pretty early for a lot of the different factions that are in this particular region. And so in the east, the Mongols have just crushed a coalition of Rus and Kuman forces at the Kalka River, a first sign of the storm still to come. So we're right on the cusp of the Mongol invasion. So I think playing any of the Russian, Polish type factions is going to be difficult because of the coming Mongols. The first sign of a storm yet to come. Further south, the Byzantine Empire struggles with division and decline, unable to recover its former strength. So the Byzantine Empire at this point has already collapsed, and so it's lost its to the Crusaders have now taken over portions of that. The failure of the recent crusade leaves the Latin states in the Levant exposed. So there actually are crusader states in this era, but they're struggling, while the Reconquista advances in Iberia, so in Spain. So it's the Spanish Reconquista is sort of like the one area that is, I guess, if you're playing as a Christian force, is going to be pushing back pretty heavily. It's an age of uncertainty and sweeping changes. So depending on where we start in this game, there's a lot going on. So if we go and have a look at it, I'll just go and select it. We can choose from like well over 100 different starting points in the game, like different groups. You can see there's a lot of playable factions. There's a few that aren't, and I'll maybe just talk a little bit about those. But there's some really interesting starts here, in terms of the way it works. And Agiod, the actual developer of this game, has done such a good job in modelling different types of societies, from medieval, all the way through from all the Islamic sort of caliphates and stuff like that, and their little nuances, all the way through with all the different feudal forces. They've all got like a nuance to them. And the republics, like the Genoa and Venice with the mercantile republics, they're all modelled in this as well. They're all playable. So this is the actual map itself. You can sort of see down through here. England is fully established. Wales is on its own, back out through here. But England actually has got a series of vassals. So this is, again, the feudal society is now sort of really kicked in. We've got like all the different the different sort of feudal societies in and around the place. Ireland, the Irish themselves, and you can get a bit of a feel for the types of forces you're going to be using just by looking at the actual little models. We can sort of see these are almost like lightly armoured Huscarls. So we're looking at some pretty poor units for the Irish. The Irish are going to struggle. Again, same there and same there. So these are like our Irish Kerns. They're not going to be really all that powerful. I used to always like playing as Ireland in these sorts of games because it allowed you a small area to then try to reconquer. But in this game, they really are quite backward in terms of their development in terms of military. So they're not a powerful faction. I mean, you could try to build them up if that was something you wanted to do. So that would certainly be a challenge. Also, you can see down through here medium armed forces in Wales. Wales is mountainous, so they can defend it with just medium troops. They do fairly well. But then we look at the English. So we've got the English in through here with their heavy knights, crossbowmen, heavy knights back up through here. Scotland as well, we actually have the Scottish themselves have got heavy knights, but their other vassals are not all that heavy. Just we're looking at sort of like, and you can just tell by the actual armour of the forces, what you're sort of going to end up having. And again, I could either play as Scotland or as one of these. This would be an interesting one to play because we'd be trying to expand in different ways. Like it may be that if we played as Scotland, we'd be trying to sort of invade down through the top of England and maybe taking some of the English territory. Certainly we'd be wanting to expand into these old Norwegian, Viking regions, like sort of taking them under control. Down through here, we've then got sort of like the French kingdom, and again we've got parts of the English kingdom are still actually active and around the Gascogne region. So this is again and France and England will end up at war. So that's actually an interesting sort of dynamic, I guess, very, very early on in the game. We've got major nations. The major nations, are the ones that the game says are fun to play, like a really, really intricate. Now, they can be too big to play, but anyway, they've got like a whole range of them in through there. The Iberian Peninsula is an interesting one because this one, the Reconquista, is actually fully active. The knights from the Spanish knights certainly have the ascendancy. But there are factions that we can't play. Like, for example, this is the Iberian Order, which is actually like a knightly order. So we can't play as knightly orders like the Knights of St. John or the Templars. But they are actually in the game. So they actually have some territory. If we look at maybe Malta, I don't know if Malta has got the knights there. That's the Holy Roman Empire down through that way. They're not actually there. Yeah, there might be some in the Middle East. We've then got the Sultanates. We do actually have the Hospitallers army. Hospitallers we can't actually take over. So this one is a Hospitaller chapter, and I click on it, but I can't actually go and play as those. But then we do actually have other factions in through here that we can. No, this is actually the Templar chapter is down this way. So the Templars control this. So this is the petty kingdom of Jerusalem. We can play as Jerusalem. So we can actually sort of go and play, which would be a... it says it's low difficulty, but we would then actually be having to deal with the different Templars and Hospitallers and things like that. We don't get to control those. I'm guessing that is... What's that one there? This is Antioch. So you do actually have these Crusader states that you can play as and try to survive, essentially. So you've got all these different sort of starts that you've got. And I don't know, I really don't have any idea whether I want to sort of start playing today as to how to do different things. I'm thinking that I sort of gravitate towards this sort of region again, like Germany, France, Italy, England, but we don't have to. Norway is now a bit more backward, and when we have a look and see what they've still got heavily armoured Huskarls, but they don't actually have any knights. So Norway is on the decline. The Viking era is over. We've got the Norway army back in through this other side. High Middle Ages, we're still, so this is before Sweden sort of really becomes a power. But you can see these are all essentially Viking forces. Denmark's an interesting one. Denmark might be a fun one to play. It's sort of not in the top rung. Like what it is, it's got major nations, it's then got remarkable nations, which are also sort of fun to play, like things like Scotland, etc., where you've got like a few vassals to look after as well. And then you've got essentially the other factions, and it's funny that Denmark is down in Denmark is sort of in that category because they're fairly large. What have we got in here? This one here is Mecklenburg. So Mecklenburg is also considered to be a smallish faction down this way. They are they part of the actual federation? If we go and have a look at one of these, they're Holy Roman Empire. These aren't. No, these are a vassal of Denmark. So this is actually a Germanic force that is controlled by Denmark. Yeah, Floppy Doodle saying Mecklenburg was Holy Roman Empire, but not at this stage. For some reason, this is a hard one to play by the looks of things, and low interest is sort of saying. What about Denmark? What's Denmark? Easy to play, and it says high interest, even though it's sort of not in the actual area. I always thought Mecklenburg was part of the Holy Roman Empire. I think it ends up becoming part of the Holy Roman Empire. So Mecklenburg back out through here. Then we've got Pomerania. There's a petty kingdom. Some of these also we can't play. Like, for example, back over here, we can now play as Prussia. So Prussia is available. But Prussia is essentially a pagan land. This is before Prussia becomes powerful. It's difficult to play because these are easy pickings for the forces on its border. So we've got Masovia back and through here again, where it's in cooperation with Lesser Poland. You can start to sort of see the feudal societies of the way things do work. So, for example, Prussia can be crushed very easily because they're not Christian. So there's no real authority problem with actually attacking. There's no negative against that one through there. This petty kingdom could be interesting, actually. Then we've got Duchy of Lesser Poland down through this other side as well. This is a hard one to play, I guess, because they're surrounded by all sorts of different things. We've got the Bohemians. Actually, even Bohemia is not part of the Holy Roman Empire. So this one here is, but Bohemia is not. That could be interesting as well. We've got no constraints anywhere. We don't really have access to pagans, but it would still be, we're still in complete control. So this one actually could be an interesting one. Anyway, I'll just see what you guys are saying about it. England starts with King John. Oh dear, yes. Italy and the Balkans. They're interesting as well. Like Italy is really fascinating because you've got like I think these are Norman sort of like you got the is that the Norman? Yeah, Italo-Norman population down in the south. You've got Italo-Norman there again as well. So the Normans have certainly taken over and through here. Rome, you don't. This is the Papal States. You can't play as them. We've also then got Tuscany. You can see there that the knights in through here are very heavily armoured. This is all fairly condensed. There's a lot going on. There's probably too much going on. So I sort of avoid this area just because there's so many different little principalities, essentially, all sort of vying for their own little slot in the grand scheme of things. And there is a bit of randomization as well with what actually happens in the game. But these are probably more advanced. You then actually have things like Venice, which is maritime. So this is there is actually the Maritime Republic, and you can play as those. They've got a different set of rules. And so they have like different areas where they control all sorts of different regions down through here. Greece is certainly sort of like a bit more backward than what we're seeing in other places. Back through here again. It's just so rich, this game, in terms of what you can play. So Xavier is saying Denmark is maybe minor because most territories are held by vassals. I don't know. It's a biggish territory, actually. Like, it looks like it's sort of... I think it may be considered not to be a... like, this is more in terms of interest rather than in terms of anything else. And I think that Denmark is probably at the extent of how big it can be. So it really won't be able to grow much more than where it actually is. So if you're playing as Denmark in the game, you can be more about managing a already developed location. So there's not a real lot of dynamism that's going to be going on with Denmark, I don't think. There may be, but I just don't know if that would be the way it would then go and work. Sweden could be interesting. I mean, Sweden starts off relatively strong in terms of the armies around it. It does have a fair few territories, though. With what it does have, it's considered easy. Like it's an easy start. It does have vassals as well. Like it's got a fair few vassals. So there's certainly some different areas in through there. Sechamo is saying, is this game easier to get into than Paradox games? How does it compare to Europa Universal in terms of learning curve? I think, look, the learning curve is probably about the same, I would guess. Like, I think it's sort of, or even harder. And I would say harder because Europa Universalists and Crusader Kings and those sorts of games have got they've almost got like an aspect about them where the game holds your hand to a degree. I mean, they're still complex games, but I guess the immersion when you first start playing those games is higher than this game. This game, if I was trying to sort of segment them, because they're quite different, like I think Crusader Kings is probably really the game that you want to be comparing this one to. Crusader Kings is all about the family and managing the family, and so it doesn't it focuses on taking territory and stuff like that, but from the family perspective. So it's all about the characters, and it's all about sort of interaction with the characters, meeting characters. So it's very much it feels much more of like a role play type game. But in both those games, like in both those Paradox games, the actual combat is very, very abstracted, like extremely abstracted. And so it's not very, and so you don't really get like full nitty gritty combat in that particular game. This game here is much more military focused and much more strategic and tactical, and so than the other two games, and a lot less role play. So even though you do actually have families, the families are pretty incidental. They don't really feature heavily in this game. So if you like the family aspect, then certainly the Paradox games are going to be higher. If you like the that sort of like that feeling that you're in the middle of a court, sort of where you're actually where you're watching the interplay between characters, then the Paradox games have got the advantage. If you're looking at a game where you are literally sort of in control of armies, you're in control of the makeup of the armies, you're in the balance of those armies, whether they're going to fight well in forest or in plains. So planning the strategic combat aspect of the game, this game absolutely crushes those Paradox games in that sense. So the focus is much more heavily on managing the systems, like the army systems in this game, but also this is much more intricate in terms of its of what you then build in the different provinces. So the province building is so much richer and deeper in this game. But it really comes down to if you like the role play and the characters, play the Paradox games. If you like the combat, the more strategy type game, the more the strategy plus tactical sort of aspect of it, then this game is going to be the game that's going to be the stronger of the two games. Like the Paradox versus Field of Glory. Field of Glory is very much about tactical combat. So, and I like that you can actually then go and play the battles out in medieval, which is what we'll be doing when we play major battles. So for me, it's sort of I really do. Like depending on what I feel like. I mean, I do prefer this game, I think, just because it is more tactical and strategic. But that's pretty much the difference, I think. It's a good question though, because it really does sort of play a role. So Xavier is saying, with Sweden or Denmark, probably invade the Baltics early, as they are pagans. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You could actually do that. So we have like a few different pagan groups back out through here. Some of these we can't play as, like if they're just too weak. Like even Prussia can be, like we can play as them, but they're very difficult to play. Lithuania is also difficult to play. These are pagan as well. So you do actually have like a few of these. Then we've got the a chapter into this other side which we can't play. Oh no, Lithuania. So this is actually Lithuania. No, we can't. Sorry, we can't play as this group. Again, this is a the knightly orders we can't play as. I don't know if that will ever come, but these are sort of like where we've got like this is like the Teutonic Knights. So the Teutonic Knights are sort of ready to go in and crush the pagans themselves. So they're sort of they're working on their own. So there's different things like the papal forces, for example. You can't play as those. You can't play as the I don't know if you can play as all of the Islamic forces. But go down to Mecca. Yeah, it looks like Mecca and these areas are not really a problem. You can play as any of those if you're wanting to. So you've got like a whole heap of them that you can actually then go and play. This is interesting. Like in this case, you've got the Latin Empire through here, which is the old Byzantine Empire. Then you've got the Nicene Empire, which is this is now this is a fractious empire. This is already starting off with lots of problems. And so this essentially is the Byzantine Empire no longer officially exists, but the Empire of Nicaea is its clear and legitimate successor. So you've sort of got the Byzantines have already collapsed at this point in time. What's this one here? This one is a fractious empire as well. So essentially this Latin Empire was a Crusader state founded in the aftermath of the Fourth Crusade in 1204. So this is we're 20 years after the fall of the Byzantine Empire. We've got the Sultanates in through this other side. So again, an interesting one where you're trying to sort of collect the pieces and hold on if you can. There's so many different ways of playing this. Anyway, let's just see if you guys have sort of asked for anything in particular. Goody Fighting saying you can't play the Livonian Knights. That's too bad. It's just because they're holy orders. They're not actually you don't really have the autonomy to actually sort of then play the diplomacy in the game. So there's still diplomacy. It's just not as rich in terms of the interplay between characters as what it is with Crusader Kings as an example. I don't think no one's really sort of said, oh, can you play this or play that? I think that for me, if we play as Sweden, we're going to be just sort of re-establishing ourselves and then sort of moving out to attack these regions in through here. But Sweden's already large. Denmark's already large. Mecklenburg interests me just because it's small, and it is difficult though. Pomerania is also playable. It's a vassal of Denmark as well. So we've got Masovia in through here is interesting as well. Petty Kingdom. Cooperation with Lesser Poland. So was a fiefdom of Kingdom of Poland located in the northeast frontier. So this is actually, we've broken away from Poland, but we still work closely with them. I like the look of that, to be honest. That's going to be that's an area that I don't usually play in the game. And we're sort of right on the edge of Prussia. That for me, I think, is an interesting one that we could actually play. And then we've got the Mongols. The Mongols are just about to start their process. This is how far the game goes out. So you can play as the Mongol Khanate through this other side, where you've got like Genghis Khan, like controlling all this territory. You can go all the way down into the Strait of Hormuz, back and down into here as well. So, hi Sev, how you going? So how goes the campaign? Well, we're just about to start actually, and you've even got like the Indian states back over through here. So there's a lot you can play as. So this is just before Tamerlane has sort of come in and dominated this area as well. So there's a lot ready to go. They've got Mongol Khanate has sort of extended out this way. Got the different hordes just on the edges of Christendom. There's this is the Cuman horde back in through here, which controls the Crimea as an example. What else we got in there? This is Trebizond has actually got part of this region as well. Teutonic Knights, again, we can't play as the Teutonic Knights, but so they're like a knightly order. I wonder if they'll bring a DLC in to actually allow us to play as those. Got the Kingdom of Hungary back into this other side as well. This is a difficult one to play with a few different vassals. I don't know, what do you reckon? Masovia could be interesting, just in terms of expansion. One of the smaller Greek nations, seems like you'll get a lot of activity. I think that, it's one of those things where, again, building things up, in this case, you've got Dacia, Archipelago. These are all fairly difficult. Epirus back in through this other side. Fairly weak in terms of where they start. That's Venice again, if we go and click on that one through there. Venice is quite strong in this game. The Iberian Peninsula is also another interesting one, simply because you're working with the Teutonic, like the Iberian Order Knights, along with the various kingdoms. So you've got Leon, or that's Galicia, back in through this other side. Then you've got Castilia back in through there. Where's Leon? There's Leon there. So you've got Leon, which has got two vassals, Galicia and Asturia. So the two vassals at the back, Leon back in through this other side. So this is actually one where you've got Portugal as well. So Portugal is with Alfonso the Fat. No treaties in this instance. So it's essentially sort of going to be, again, joining in with the Reconquista of the Iberian Peninsula. And so this is sort of one where you are fighting, you're allying with the various Christian forces to then fight into the south. So some really interesting things. So guerrilla fighting scene. The Danish situation looks very interesting to me. So it's sort of, again, we can start there. I just don't think that the kingdom is going to be, because look, I'll show you what I mean. Like if we go into it and start playing it, we can always restart if we find it's just going to be a bit too limiting. So the death of Knud IV of Denmark in 1086 marked the end of the Viking Age, and never again would massive flotillas of Scandinavians gather each year to ravage the rest of Europe. After a period of civil war in the early 12th century, Denmark was united under the rule of Vladimir the Great. And Vladimir built Denmark into a major power in the Baltic region. He and his successors launched several crusades against the pagan tribes in the Baltic, adding parts of Wendland and northern Estonia to the Danish kingdom. By the late 13th century, however, the power of the Danish monarchy had declined, and the Counts of Holstein owning much of the county. So again, it's sort of one of the things with this, with burghers and bombards, we're not going to have to worry about money. It says to begin with, it's crucial to ensure that your treasury is not losing an excessive amount of money. This is no longer a problem in the game because we're like in the 1200s, we're essentially we've got a merchant class, which is very prevalent with what's going on. So it still can become a problem with inflation, but it's sort of like it's the start of mercantilism and capitalism, I guess, in the sense that the feudal societies still actually have the nobility, but then we also have like the merchant class as well, which is now kicked right in. Which is new in the game. So, next prioritizing authority. So the authority is something we do have to sort of get on top of. It's actually the key feature of the game. So bear in mind that authority is challenging to gain and easy to lose, so consider constructing structures to improve it. Keep in mind that these structures are often tier 2 buildings, except for permanent defensive structures, which can provide authority at the tier 1 level. This is very, very, very important. This is actually probably now the most important statement in the game. That little statement there. We'll come back to that one there. That's pretty much it. Let's just go and sort of click on OK. So we'll just go back through here. Late campaign introduction. The late campaign of 1223 offers a markedly different landscape than that of 1054. The Mongols, blah, blah, blah. We've got all that stuff. Sort of done a bit of a summary of all of those. Advanced economy. The game gradually introduces an advanced economy shaped by several factors: the rise of the burghers class, monetary upkeep on buildings, inflation and guilds. General principle, the advanced economy begins to appear around 1150, so we're sort of already well and truly into the advanced economy now, and it's phasing gradually, giving you time to adapt. By 1250, which is close to where we are, so we're in 1223, it's in full effect, but between those two dates, its monetary pressure is reduced. Burghers, the burgher class begins to emerge around 1150, so again, we've got those already in here. Rise is tied to the growth of towns, trade and urban chapters, as well as increasing roles of guilds. Historically, burghers gradually establish themselves. One of the things you'll find with Agiot games is that they find a way to model incredibly complex, historical situations extremely well. They distill them down into very succinct mechanics in games, and I don't know of any other company that actually, like any other development company that actually does what they can do. Like they really are exceptional with it. In gameplay terms, burghers specialise in generating money, which is why we don't really have a problem with money in this instance. Monetary upkeep on buildings. Buildings that now may require two types of upkeep in addition to the classic infrastructure cost. Some will also require money. So we haven't had that before, where we've actually had to pay essentially like a monetary value. It's always just been the infrastructure coming out of that particular region. So an inflation gradually emerges after 1150 and increases the upkeep cost of buildings in units, though not by their construction costs, so for simplicity's sake. So inflation tends to rise as you control populous or wealthy regions, and if you hoard too much money. So the game wants you to spend your money just so you don't actually end up with too much inflation, but it can be reduced if your realm is rural or with weak productivity. Has limited trade acumen or even runs chronic deficits. Interestingly, having many burghers increases the likelihood of inflation, but they also produce the money that you need to offset its effects. We now have guilds as well, that comes into it. We've got the new art of war, so we do actually have gunpowder units which do come, but that's later on, so we don't need to really worry about those. So let's just go and close that one. So playing as Denmark, there's like the game essentially has some very succinct parameters about how things sort of will then go and play out. If we go and have a look at Denmark in the nation panel, you can then go into a few different things into here. So the overview. This is actually telling you what's essentially what your dynamics actually are. Having a quick look at those, we do have some claims, which is just one of it. So Sjælland in Denmark is already we've sort of already got that one established. Realm traits. We have different things where we can actually. This is sort of like more of a government modifier, which nearly everyone is going to have this one here, like around the place. This is just a Western feudal state. And so in this case, we get a food bonus of 10% and a character force pull bonus of +1. So we have one extra character than that is what is a stock standard. We then actually have our specific things that we end up getting. So we actually have a whole series of these, which then just gives us little modifiers by playing as Denmark. And then we actually have our king down through here, which is giving us a few little sort of other benefits as well. So again, we've got so King Valdemar the Victorious he's got good military, and so we end up with another character coming to the force pool. Our standing army unit bonus of +3. That's actually massive. That's actually really, really cool. This one does give us an ability to actually build a bigger army than other places. And we then actually he's a scholar, so we have in this case, global legacy gain from population and education increased by 25%, increase of 20% on experience needed for level ups. So we do have that one through there. Sometimes you'll have decisions right from the start. We don't actually have any of the decisions. The realm traits we'll sort of see. Sorry, we just looked at those before. The summed abilities, all of these different things then give us the summed abilities. This is probably the most important of the things to quickly have a look at to see what is impacting the way that you're playing. And so we have a food bonus there of 10%, and this comes from the Western feudal state. So if we go back into here, health bonus of 1%. I'm not sure where that one's. It's coming from one of the others. Commerce bonus of 10%. Conversion bonus of 30% of the current rate to bring them across into Christianity. So legacy gain coefficient. Don't worry too much about legacy. Legacy is more dynamic in this game than what it was in Empires, in Field of Glory Empires. It does have a bearing. Like, you do want to look after legacy now during the game. It used to just be a score sheet about how far you're going, and it still largely is that. But if you have high legacy, it means that things like, for example, when authority is calculated, it will calculate more in your favor if you're high in legacy. Legacy is essentially the score in the game. Trade acumen bonus of +2. I'm not sure how that applies. Trade range bonus of +1, so we can just bring things in from slightly further away. Court expenses reduction of 15%. Again, this will come down to some other realm trait that we've got in through here somewhere. You get the trade acumen bonus there of +2. Trade range bonus from the skein market. You've got impediment, fear of the unknown. So this is the faction-wide health penalty of 1%. Character quality bonus of +1. Yeah, so there's actually a few different things that sort of do come back into these. And authority bonus of +15%, which is a nice one. So and again, authority really is the key to the game. So that's this is really what we want to be trying to manage as much as we possibly can. And yeah, so then these are sort of like specific things. Military expertise, and again, the tooltips will sort of tell you what different things are. The important thing to look at is the big one is the retinue allowance of 10. Actually, that's still so we can actually have more standing units. We've got current number of standing units we have is 6. The retinue is something that we end up and pretty much everyone gets 10, and so the first 10 units that you have, the 10 most expensive units will be considered a retinue, which you pay a lot less for. And I really like this mechanic in the game. It wasn't there originally when they first sort of were developing the game. So it was on the beta test, but by bringing it in, it wasn't really prevalent, but it was. It sort of now means you can actually have a standing army that doesn't cost you a fortune, and so you can actually then get some very, very powerful units. There's still an upkeep, but it's much, much more reduced. So, and we've got the current number of standing army units is 6, and we can have a maximum number of standing army units of 24. Now, there's 3 different types of army, like army types, or sort of unit types, which we'll have a bit of a look at. So this one in through here, I just wanted to see also there should be it should tell us the number of places we can actually then go and keep as well, but I'm not seeing it there. If we have a look at, we can sort of do that through authority. If we go and have a look at, if we hover over authority back up through here, so you can see down through here, this one here, we're getting a planned authority change is 1.2, and which is good because we want to be going up. And if I go and click on that, there's nothing I can really bring up. If I go and bring in the Denmark and then the authority and disorder. So at the moment we're sort of just we're in the middle, and we're right on the 50. So some of them are 61. These are going to rocket ahead, because of different things that have actually happened. We're pretty close to being up in that top tier. You can see there that nearly everyone is in the top tier is already starting at 50. So everyone starts there and then just sort of ends up going a little bit higher. The average is going to end up being around about 54, 55. So we'll end up sort of getting to that point. What it does is it's sort of like a natural 50% is, or 50% authority is essentially where things will start to level out. And what we don't want to be doing is dropping down into the bottom rung, which is also on 50. So we'll sort of find out where things are pretty early on. Like the first turn we're not going to be able to see much with what's going on there. But we do need to be managing this one. At 1.2 authority, we're going to be going up to 51.2 at the end of this term. You can see down there, this is the stuff that is actually impacting our authority. And initially, we want to be pushing this up as high as we possibly can. So the domain size of -1. And so if we have a look down at a bit further down, it says current domain size of 15. So we actually have 15 locations in around here, which are impacting our, 15 slots that we're managing for Denmark. And so that's actually what's happening with those authorities in through there. Required domain size for realm change. So we can actually then, if we get up to 17, we just need 2 more to essentially then be able to become, at the moment with the Kingdom of Denmark, I don't know what that authority will be. Let's have a look and see what that will then end up being. Actually, it probably won't tell us in here. If we're a kingdom, we're a young petty kingdom, we can become it's not a stable petty kingdom. I'm not sure what the progress is that we end up going to if we do level up. But that's different again to, this is actually like it might be an empire or something like that at 17. I'm just not sure exactly how that one does work. So for a realm change, not that we'll be focusing on that one. Anyway, the domain size, we've already, maximum domain size for authority gain is 14. So that's why we're getting -0.1. For every domain, and a domain in this case is just every single little province that we actually have in through here. I wish that they would be consistent with the names, to be honest. They call certain things provinces, regions, and domains. But a domain is essentially just going to be like a single entity that we sort of end up having back in through here as well. So, going back into this one through here. So, 14 is really what we can manage, but 15 is what we currently have, which means we've got a slight negative there. So, we're slightly, because we're larger, we're being pushed down a little bit. We do actually have special structures that are giving us 1.6. So, let's maybe have a quick look and see what they are. If we go back to, we've got the domains overlay. This is the individual domains back in through here. I don't think we can sort of see the authority changes in through here as such. I don't think it's going to tell us the various stuff, but usually it'll be our capital. If I go back and click on this one through here and then go and click on it a second time just to open it up, there's a tier 2 building here. The Stone Castle is giving us, it's not giving us actual bonus authority events can actually come from that one. This one here, we've got a watch. What else do we have? Domain Court, local administration. I don't think we get authority from here. No, nothing much. King's Residence. I would have thought that would have given us authority. The authority increase of 1.5. So you saw there that we had a 1.6. So we're getting 1.5 from this particular location through here. So the little crown with 1.5, is there any other crowns? Yeah, there's the 0.1. So the stone castle and the king's residence are giving me the 1.6. So when we hover over that one, you can see there we've got a special structures are giving me 1.6. They're all coming from the capital, from Shaland, and through. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'll be butchering all the names. So that's important for us. Those two buildings. We can build other buildings during the course of the game to raise that authority, and it's definitely worth doing. So that's, again, something we're going to be trying to focus on. But you'll see down the bottom through there's like a little Roman 1, Roman 2. Actually, I did see a clip where one of the American politicians was talking about World War II and with the Roman numeral 2 and called it World War 11, which I found really funny. Anyway, it's... I don't know, it's just a bit of an aside. It's just strange. So when we see the tier 2 buildings, there is a chance that these will then raise things like, for example, authority, because these are at higher level. And so there is a chance we can sort of find different buildings, and it doesn't have to just be in the military or the nobility sort of areas of the game. It can actually be anywhere, and so they can actually sort of, like, as we sort of start to go through, there may be other buildings that we get access to that will actually raise authority, and we've really got to be on the lookout for those because they will be worth their weight in gold. Ultimately, it's going to allow us to do a lot more stuff. And then we have national modifiers there of 0.2 as well. So we've got sedition from the nobility is negative 0.5, and this is actually because you see down the very, very bottom there, it says starting with 50 authority, a non-avoidable penalty, sedition from nobility, will be applied to its gain. Nations with high authority, 75 plus, tend to clash against each other. Each peer of the realm in charge of a province increases maximum domain size bonus. So the peers of the realm in charge of a province, now the province is a collection of domains. So we'll have a look at that one in just a second. Each vassal reduces required size of realm change bonus. So we'll go and have a look at this one now. So if we go back out and I just click on for example, this, click on it twice. This is the, so Denmark has just got one massive province in through here, which we control everything. So we've got like six different domains inside the actual province itself. In fact, if I go to, that's the domains overview, that's the ownership. Where's the province overview? Just have a quick look through and just see if I can find it. See how it's got regions? Regions are the, what it calls, like the provinces are regions as well. It's regions overlay, claims overlay. Supply overlay. These are all quite good actually. But in this case, regions are what the game is calling provinces as well. So it's I wish that they would standardize that. It was feedback that I gave way back when the game was first being developed, but it just but they do actually have these. Now you'll notice that with Denmark, we don't have anyone actually managing it for us. So we can click to appoint a peer of the realm of this domain. So depending on his proficiency, he will provide more or less bonuses. So we've got administration, increases local stewardship and maximum national domain size. So we can actually sort of then go and push our domain size higher than what we currently have. Again, when we look at authority, we've got the current domain size there is 15, but the maximum domain size for authority gain is 14. If I put someone in charge here who's high in administration, we may get a bonus there where we actually get even more authority coming through, which is important. So that's something we can certainly go and do. So in this case, we've got the so we've got military provides experience to newly recruited units, and party helps with conversion. Administration is everything we have to worry about here. So if I go and click on this one through here, it's then going to take us to a list of different people we can then just go and put in. And so the first one that we see is, the first one is going to be authority, military, piety. And so we're really looking for anyone with 5. And so we actually have this one here is highlighted for us. This is Goodmund. He's our son. He's only 22 years old, fully loyal. Administration 5. And so he also then has different aspects about himself. Now he's a landowner, and so in this case he gives a food bonus from from the province of 10%, but a taxation penalty of 10%. So we will end up with slightly less money, but and a little bit more growth and food if we put him in there. He's the only 5 that we have in our list of people. If we and to show you who they actually are, and this is again where it's different from. I was just going back to the kingdom, the nation panel in through this other side. So whereas Crusader Kings will focus on this screen, this screen is very much secondary to in this particular game. So this is really the I guess the big differences between the between Crusader Kings and Field of Glory kingdoms. It's sort of one of these things where when people play this screen up, it's essentially bullshit. This is very, very minimalistic, and really is not. It's not even really all that interesting, to be honest. Whereas in Crusader Kings, it is the game. The game is in screen. This is the big difference between the two. So in this case, you do actually have your character. The thing that's important with this is not the interplay between the characters and the role play aspect, which is what Crusader King's about. The interesting thing about this is that does happen, but it happens on a more abstract level, and it's more about the bonuses that they provide and the threats that they can provide, can present to you. So there's still an aspect to it, but it doesn't feel. And I know that I've done some things with the game where I've tried to sort of make it feel more role play, and you can do it. Like particularly if you have somebody that's actually a big negative, like you might have an uncle, for example, that's it's very anti you. So you can still actually have that role play happening, but it's a role play that you have to be aware of in your own mind, and so you can still play it through. And if we get that opportunity, I will do that. But it's not something that actually where the game is pushing it in your face all the time. So what we end up having through here, we have Valdemar the Victorious. Now we can see down through here, unfortunately, his health is really bad. Health, he's 53 years old, so he's really on the decline. So he's on his way out. He's got a spouse here, Thorberg, and so she's age 25. We don't know what her loyalty actually is, and so she has practically no bearing on the game at all. Like, she doesn't sort of really add anything to the game, unlike in Crusader Kings, where the spouse sort of adds to different results, etc., etc. The sons and daughters that we actually have in through here. So we actually have we've got 2 courtesans in through this other side. So we've got concubines, 32-year-old, 24-year-old in through here. So these are just parts of the court. Now, female characters in the game, because we are playing in the medieval, we're playing with a full patriarchy, whatever it is. Anyway, where the females are sort of not given a voice as such, but they are there. That you can marry them off if you need to. So, for example, he can marry off this daughter when she comes of age. So she's only 11 at this stage, but she can actually then be married off as part of a deal. So you can still actually sort of do that in the game. You've got the different sons in through here. You can see this guy's got 0 administration. They're all pretty loyal. This one is Goodman, the one we were looking at before. And again, we can see the landowner aspect. Then we actually have other relatives, and so we'll end up with a few of them sort of in the court. Where they do different things. And again, with their loyalty being suspect, if you don't know what their loyalty is, it can cause issues. And so in this case, we've got like a very high loyalty here. This is our brother. He's only 17 years old, so he's actually younger than our... he looks almost the same as our son, but anyway, he's in through there. Not great at anything. Administration rating increased by 1 point. So infrastructure bonus of 20% there as well. So he can actually build more in a territory. So he's not terrible, but the administration points there of 2 is not great. There's our sister there. Don't know what her loyalty is. We've got an uncle there who is, again, unknown loyalty. Messy, so taxation penalty and region loyalty penalty. So people don't really want to be ruled by him as such. Then we've got this another uncle. Again, very high loyalty, charismatic, so regional loyalty bonus of 10. So if we had loyalty problems, then this, having him in charge, he might be someone that's good in that sort of sense. Another uncle down through here with reasonably high loyalty, only 17 years old in this instance, a merchant. So trade acumen bonus goes up by +4, piety rankings go up. So the little bonuses they bring in. Then we have another uncle through here, with again fairly good loyalty, age 20. So fence rating, 1. Okay, this is so he's actually not bad as a commander. And spendthrift, so unit upkeep increased by 20%, and so bonus of 5 XPs when a unit is created. So he's going to sort of be more expensive to sort of have the unit upkeeps. Then we actually have just nobles that have come to court, and quite often these will actually have, like, this one's very, very good offence, reasonable defence rating, very religious, so depending on what their sort of role is. In this case, he would be good. He's actually leading the Danish army in Sjælland and through here, so he's actually is our military commander. There may be somebody else that's better. These are all, that's a 1-1. So some of these will actually have other bonuses. We've got a few of them in through here as well. That's a 1-2. This one's good at defending. So we're not sort of really sort of seeing, I'm happy enough with what we have through there. That one's a 2 offense but 0 defense. It's a 1-1. Sometimes the commander will be pretty good with different things as well. We can't put ourselves in charge of the locations. Anyway, that location here, when I go and click on this one through here, having the governor is going to be helpful. So let's have a quick look at the. Actually, what was that one there? So a peer, whilst governing the realm, can still be a general with a penalty of one of his administration, military, or piety stats. So I'm going to go and apply and bring their son in to manage that one, just because he is the best one at it. So I'm going to throw him into that position. And when we have a look, just again to have a quick look and see where we are. In this case, we've got the current domain size of 15, maximum domain size of 14, and at the top there, domain size penalty of -0.1. Let's just see what happens when we put him in there. So he's now in charge of this whole region of Denmark. He's sort of like the next noble down from where we actually are. And if we now have a look to see what bonuses he provides, if we have a look up through this other side, we now see that the domain size, we're now getting even more authority coming back in. And so we now have a current domain size of 15, but we can have a maximum domain size now of up to 19. So we can actually now go and grab 2 more just because he's looking after this region, and it's now given us from a -0.1 to a +0.4. So that's been a 5 turnaround in terms of authority, which is nice. So we now sort of are getting a lot more in terms of the ability to sort of try to get into that top rung, which is really so important. So that's sort of where we're heading down through there. As we go above 50, the sedition from the nobility will kick in higher and higher. But we want to be sort of just get everything else as high as we possibly can in that capacity. So anyway, he's actually now in charge of all of Denmark. We don't have... go across to Skane. Skane is... we don't actually have control of Skane. Again, if I just go have a look at the... That's the regions there. Where is Skane? Actually, there should be a... that's the domains. It's the ownership. So we have all that there. There should be a different provinces area. Supply, national and local authority. That's not really going to worry us. Free building slots, loyalty. Now, Skane is actually not us. This is actually our vassal. So we've got a vassal in there. So and actually down here, this is all still part of Denmark. We've got Mecklenburg out through this other side. That's still it's interesting in through here even. It's not really so for us to sort of pick something up, this is where I think Denmark is going to be probably a little bit slow to play, to be honest, because I think we're all we're going to be doing is just managing these domain sizes and things. I don't think we're going to have much. that we can do other than sort of moving across the other side here somewhere. So what groups do we actually have? Let's have a quick look and see. This is again when you're playing a large group, there's a lot of management you then need to go and do. So I'm sort of almost thinking Denmark may be just too big to play. It's still interesting, but it's just it may just be too large. So these are all the different groups that we have. All right, so we have a number of them that are outside the area. So let's go and have a look and see where we are with that. Yeah, so we've got like little areas in through here. Now, what group is that part of? It's showing it there. This is not showing me the regions properly. Where is it? Where is it? We've got the domains there. Ah, that's it. That's it there. I think it's part of Pomerania. Yeah, so this is actually this is the what I was looking for here. This is the actual shows the domains, also named provinces, boundaries. If zoomed out, the regions, the region names is if zoomed out, so we see the actual province boundaries. And again, they've called them domains and domains as well. It's very confusing. I wish it was just one consistent name. There was a reason for it, but I can't remember what the reason actually was. And then the regions are the actual individual little provinces. So anyway, it is a confusing terminology. Regions within a domain help each other on food and infrastructure. They also grant you possibility to recruit a local unit. So in Denmark, for example, if we go back into the Denmark and just double click so we get back to this one here, we do actually have a provincial unit through here with the offensive spearmen. Is something we can actually then go and build if we did want that one through there. So do we want to play this one? Because we do actually have, and again, we've got like a lot of, if I just go back to ownership overlay, this is Smaland in through there. That's the province there. So it's part of Skane. So we do have control of that one. Again, it just gets confusing when you've got so many of them. We do have Hamburg, actually. So we've got Hamburg in through there. You can see there the domain. Again, these are all part of the Denmark domain. But these it just means we're going to have to manage a lot of stuff. So, yeah, so Sever's saying, I wish they'd just use a normal county, duchy, kingdom naming. They do with the actual structure of the nobility, but not with these other bits and pieces. So we do actually have Hamburg. Yeah, just part of Saxony. Okay, so the domain there, if I just go back to this one here, you'll see there that we do control these. We've got a couple of, so we would be wanting to take over Saxony, but I think that there's a lot of micromanagement for us to do playing as a largish faction. So I don't think I'll bother playing that one. I think I will actually go off and play something different. But I hope you don't mind me sort of just delving into that a little bit. I'm looking for something that's got maybe sort of like 4, 5, 6, rather than having so many. Like this one's just got too many to manage. And so it's just going to mean we're going to end up sort of like just caught up with all of that one through there. So Mr. Jazz is saying, thank you for your clear description of the game. It helps a lot to get into the game. Yeah, it is a game that is actually really quite interesting to play. I'm drawn down here just because I think we're going to get good combat. We've got a definite, all here. Do you guys have a preference between playing as, these sort of like Northern Polish, so the Masovia in through here would be interesting to play. We're sort of right on the edge of the Holy Roman Empire, where we can expand into Prussia, for example, fairly readily. Or down here in the Iberian Peninsula, we could play as one of those. Let me know your thoughts, guys. If you have so we've got Masovia. What I'll do is I'll get you guys to vote. If number 1, Masovia. Number 2, we'll pick either Portugal or Leon or Castilla or something like that. So Bob Curo saying Poland. So we've got one vote there. Just let me know in the chat. So Spain or Poland. I think Poland is better, since in Iberia you're just fighting Muslims and leaving Europe alone. But I'm worried about being in a lesser union with Poland. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I'm fine with Poland. Yeah, okay, there we go. So I always found it a little odd that you get cultures depicted in a medieval setting where every region has their own language. There is the cultural aspect. That's political. Where is it? Loyalty, movement. There is a culture one. Culture and population. If I just go back up into here. Actually, we're still in the same one, aren't we? Sorry, I'll just go back out again. We'll have a look at each of these different things. As you can see, I'm not really all that good at the game, but I do like the idea of it. Return to the main menu. So we'll just go and get started. All right, scenario, late campaign, click, in we go. Playing the smaller faction, particularly for a live stream, means I've got less to worry about. And we can sort of then look at each of the different mechanics in a bit more detail, but without it sort of then overwhelming everything we're trying to do. So, for example, playing as Denmark, I'd be needing to go through every single province, making sure I get the best building and where it's going to lead to it. Whereas when I'm playing the small faction, we still do that, and I can then talk about the building progression and how you can then go and plan for that, which again in this game is really, really cool, like the way it sort of does work. It's sort of, there's a lot to love about what they've done with this game. So let's go across and we'll play as Masovia. So we only have like a handful of provinces, 4 of them. So we'll just go into this one through here. And we'll go and click on this one through this other side. So we'll just get a bit of a summary. The Duchy of Masovia was a fiefdom of the Kingdom of Poland, located in the northeastern frontier, bordering the pagan Prussians. Its capital was first located in Plock, then in Cernist in 1263 CE. Warsaw was but a tiny fishing village on the Vistula during this period and would not rise to capital status until 1413. In 1226 CE, the Duke of the region, Conrad I, called in the Teutonic Order to help against the troublesome... Now that's right when we are 3 years away. To help against the troublesome Prussians. To facilitate this, he granted the knights of the Chelme land in and around the city of Turin on the west bank of the Vistula. This would form the basis of the large empire the knights would later forge on the shores of the Baltic. So to begin with, it's crucial to ensure that your treasury is not losing money, blah, blah, blah. And again, this is all just stock standard stuff. So let's have a look and see what we actually have. It's all the same stuff, information. And we've done that one before as well. Now we do actually have a regional decision we have to make right from the start. So if we have a look at this, again, this is the ownership overlay where we're sort of seeing we're just at the Kingdom of Masovia. We have the Duchy of Lesser Poland down this way as our neighbour. Now this is still part of, like we've got Masovia in through here. Let's have a look at the ownership. Again, if we have a bit of a look, it's a bit hard to see with the colours there. We don't own this. This is Lesser Poland owns this one. Lesser Poland owns that one there, unfortunately, as well. If I go and click on Masovia, we don't actually have enough at Masovia to be able to take the region as such. If I go back to the domains overlay and zoom back out, so we actually have, what do we control? We've got Masovia, we've got part of this region back over here. We do control that one. We control that one, and we control this one here. But we don't control these two. But we should have enough. We've got more than half. There we go. Yeah, we do actually control more than half. So this is we do have control over this particular. Even though there's 2 that are missing, we do have control over that one through there. This one here at Podlasia, as we've only got one little area back and through there. One more and we then have control of this as well. And so these are, you can see there that the actual population everywhere through here is Polish, all the way along. So this is all where, it's all the same. Then it goes to East Slavic back out through this other side. This particular group is controlled by Halik. So we've got, and that is also a group called Halek in there as well. So we can sort of find out whether they're worth trying to capture. It would be good to get at least one more of these, because that's going to give us like what we could do previously as well with getting our domains, etc. up is going to be useful. Now we have a problem because we're already starting off at 45, so we actually have a big issue here. So we need to be, you can see there the planned authority changes, they were going up, so we need to get that up as high as we possibly can. Now at the moment, because we're fairly small, we have a domain size bonus there of 1, and you can see there the current domain size is 4, required domain size for the realm change is 20, maximum domain size that we currently have for authority gain is 14. So we're sort of 10 away. So for every domain size that we're either above or below, it's like 0.1 point. Special structures, we got 1 extra coming in, and national modifiers of 0.2, and because we're under 50, we don't actually have any sedition from the nobility, so so everyone is now sort of trying to push the authority back up. Let's just go back in again and have another quick look at the actual locations that we end up having through here. Because we have control over this region, we don't have control over these two, which Lesser Poland has got control of, but we can actually sort of build different things in here as well. We've got 9 slots at Cheresk and through this other side. Plock, our capital, is already full, so we can't sort of build anything else in through there. And then we've got the so this one here as well. We've got 7 open slots there for building. We'll have a look at those in just a minute. We can go and grab Polish mercenary axemen as a provincial unit if we do need to sort of get them. They don't look that great, to be honest, but they are going to have a heavy weapon. Let's have a look at our so the authority. If we go back into this one again with the summed abilities, you can see we get a food bonus there of 20, stewardship there of 10%, regional loyalty of 8, legacy. So overall coefficient applied to legacy gain, so 75%. The age of your dynasty lasting 7 years. Yeah, so that's just the age of where we are. Authority change on ruler's death. Ruler's death increased by 20%. Okay, authority bonus of 10% there as well. So we're getting a few different bonuses there with authority. We've got King Nicholas down through this other side. He's his health is only fair, so he's also fairly poor in terms of what he's doing. He's 50 years old, and again, if we've got problems, they can see down through here, we've got some issues with our court. So Leksinki has I'm going to butcher these names. There's a loyal of 33 and can make a coup while at the court, lower chances. So there's somebody in here who is actually disloyal, and Brennicki has a loyalty of 30 and can make a coup while at the court with lower chances. So click to focus on the most disloyal character at your court. So what we can then go and do is we can just go and choose loyalty, and we can sort of see their actual loyalty, the ones that we know, some we don't know. So we have question marks over what their loyalty actually is. Other ones in through here, this is our courtesan is going to be is got good loyalty there at 89. Then we've got things like, for example, so this one's loyalty is a bit more suspect with what we end up sort of having in through here. 7-year-old son. We've got a 19-year-old son there as well. So he'll probably be the next king, I would guess. Have a quick look and see. This one here is this is the loyalty of 30. So this is actually one of our uncles. Is actually going to cause us some issues. He's actually a good administrator, good military, and good piety. So so he is a problem. And then we have this one here at loyalty 33, which is our brother. Militaristic and through there as well. Now, actually, military rating increased by 1 point. Standing army bonus there of 3 if we did need it. Can maintain 50 extra muster of men. So he's actually he's got an defense rating there of 1-1. The others are all unknowns in terms of their loyalty. The charges is actually sort of what their jobs are. Essentially, if we go and click on that one through there, we can sort of see what their main sort of aspect of it actually is, and then their treasury, if it, how much money they actually have, which is not really all that important at this stage. So I think what I'll do is I'll just use the numbers that we sort of see when we try to apply these to different things. But the authority, starting off at 45 authority, is not a good start for us. if we have a look at the, click on this one through here, you can see where he's starting off in the bottom rung of the game. And so we need to build this one up and get out of here as fast as we possibly can to at least get into the stability back in through this other side. So we want to get authority as high as we can in this particular region. So we'll just have a quick look and see. We have a 4 there with spy tech, another spy tech there with 4. This is our uncle who's got very, very poor loyalty. He's a pillager. Relative chance to pillage the region after a large battle. So this is if he's in charge of combat. There's a 5 there. So this is Peter Lisowski. So a noble, 22, unknown loyalty, disorganized. So movement penalty, yeah, again, regional loyalty penalty of 5. So if we need to then see, is this region, are they loyal to us? We can just go across to the loyalty bonuses, loyalty overlay. Just go and click on that one through there. And look, they're all pretty green at this stage. So green, if we hover over that one, high loyalty. So we've got no real issue with loyalty. So putting him in charge there is going to be not really an issue. So, and we do get the bonus of him then being a high administrator. So let's go and throw him in there. So he's now in charge of that particular region. And again, we've just got this disorganized aspect. So he's giving, so the current admin provides plus 25 local authority and plus 5 allowed domain size for authority gain. This is going to then boost our, we're going to go even higher again. We're now going up at 2.8 because we've actually placed him in that position, which is good. So that's now, so the authority is going to go up a fair bit. Hopefully we bounce out of that bottom tier right from the very, very start. All right, so that's where we are now. I can either automate, the building of everything, but because we've only got like literally 4 areas to then go and build. This one here, we don't control enough of this area. Let's just go back to the ownership overlay or the even just the domains overlay and through this other side. So I would like to get one of these. So these are the Halcyon city-states, neutral towards Masovia. It would be good to get one of these right from the very, very start, like even before we go after Prussia. Prussia's going to be sort of like where we mainly focus, but we can, if I can get hold of this, I can then get another commander in there. And Prussia itself, we're going to have to control a lot of. You can see down the bottom there, it says plain, land cost of 2. This one here is forest, land cost of 3. This is actually the movement cost. It also where there's rivers will actually then also impact what the time it takes to cross over, but also the combat abilities and the bonuses you get from different things will actually, the river systems can have a massive role in what does go on. We can get to there, but we then still have to cross this river to then get across into this particular location to then go and take it. But I don't mind the look of that one, to be honest. That does look fairly good in terms of taking this plain, depending on what our mix of forces actually is. So if we have a look at our actual army, so we can then sort of see what we end up sort of having in through here. So we might build up our army because we can afford it. Like we're doing pretty well through there. So we have early knights and sergeants working through here. These are heavy cavalry. And if we just press the control, I can then sort of see what these have got. So these are standing army units, combat power of 25, which is actually good in the game. That's actually high. Attack of 8, defense of 8. They have a city assault penalty of -2, city defender penalty of -2. So these really don't fight in the cities. Good hits and effectiveness. Devastating charge. If the unit charges, it will raise combat. So this is actually active in open, arid and steppe terrain categories. Now open is plains, so plains is not really a problem. Steady, so ability level 1, 25% chance per level to not receive the first damage incurred in melee, which is fine. And then clumsy in forest and rough. So these guys have an attack penalty of 2 and a defense penalty of 2 in the forested regions. So they're not going to be all that great in the forest. This is again where this game absolutely shines. Then we have the Slavic armored noble cavalry back and through this other side. These are pretty close in terms of combat power. Let me have a look. These are 7/7 attack and defense. They're even worse with the city assault penalties, though. These are steady, and they are also clumsy. Okay, so that's what they have. Then we actually have heavy crossbowmen. So these are I've got a combat power of 12, attack and defense of 3 there. They do actually have a city assault bonus of +1 and a city defender bonus there of +2. So they're going to be good in cities. Pretty good hits and effectiveness there as well. And no other real sort of tricky things there. They do give us siege value. What do these give us? Siege value of 2, siege value of 2 there as well. These are siege values of 4 and siege resistance of 6. Then we have the early spearmen defensive in through here. These are going to be sort of fairly important to us. These aren't as powerful, but we've got the heavy infantry standing army unit, combat power of 12. So 6 and 8, like they defend better. The siege value is only 2 though, so not all that great. So sieging is not something we can really do a lot with these particular groups. So these are clumsy in forest as well. So you can see then really our force is pretty much geared for fighting in the plains, unfortunately, Prussia is full of forest, and this is forest down through here. So it may be that we're better off trying to pick up other medium troops rather than actually going for the heavy troops. Having a quick look at the troops we've got 6 units. If we have a look back into here at our summed abilities, and again, just you can see the retinue allowance of 10. That's sort of like the cheaper ones that we can sort of then go and pick up. We can have up to 12 standing army units, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that now. If we go back into this region, again, we've got the provincial unit, the Polish mercenary axemen. I've suddenly now got a lot more respect for this unit because that will then fight well in the forest. And not because it's got an axe, because it's actually only a medium troop. It's not a heavy troop. And so the medium troops will tend to do well. So if we go across and have a look at we have different bonus XPs there as well, which is actually pretty cool. You can see the different types of units that we can grab from here. But if we just go back into the unit queues, this is what we can build. So we have some we can't build just yet. The Slavic Armoured Noble Cavalry is so this unit is too costly for the nation's remaining resources. So I can't grab that one. This one here needs a peasant roundup to get the peasant militia. I don't really want those. They just don't fight all that well. Massed archers, this would be a good one, but we need to have a bowyer and a master bowyer, or either one of those. So once we've got those buildings, we can get those. This is the early defensive spearmen. So this is too costly again for what we have. Now it's possibly, if we have a look and see what that one actually does cost, if I go and click on it, we can then sort of see that we've got like the cost in money is 138, and it's going to cost me 20 manpower. Actually, there it is there. Money 138, manpower of 20, metals 21. Now I've only got 20 metals. That's the problem. I don't have enough metal for this one through here. And even the upkeep is going to be 3, which means that if we get one of those units, we're not going to be able to do anything else. So that is a bit of a problem in terms of what we then end up having. So, and it's not really, it's still heavy as well. Anyway, there's the heavy troops. Then we've got the cavalry. These are just sort of like medium sort of troops. I can pick up those. These I can get. I've got good manpower generation. And then we've got the slingers. So these are like skirmish type units. They're not going to be hardly any sort of upkeep at all, really, with anything we end up having. Early light archers, again, skirmisher type units. Then we've got the levy spearmen, not all that great. But then we do actually have this Polish mercenary axeman. So of all the different units, this one here, they don't fight all that effectively, but they do actually have like the bonuses we do end up getting with them is so what do we have in through here? Just press Control, left click. Yeah, left click for details. We are sort of seeing it through here. Attack of 6, defense of 4. So they're not very defensive. Only got 1 hit point, so they're not very strong at all actually. We've got siege value there of 3. They're not very good at defending it and in siege. They just use up a small amount of food as well. So we don't really have a really good mix of forces. We can try the next province over, but again, I don't think we're going to see much else from this region here. And so in this case, from this region, if we control this one, we'd end up getting these Polish mercenary slingers, which is not going to be all that great either, to be honest. So we do have just normal axemen. Now, this is interesting. You'll see there that this is completely changed down the bottom through here. We still have the same values in here, but these are different in terms of the upkeep, etc., etc. So these ones here cost me, these have got 12 money, manpower of 20, metals of 1, and equipment of 7 is the cost. And then we have an upkeep there of 6 money, 7 manpower, and 1 metal. So these cost me a different amount than if we go back across and build them from in here. And so in this case, we end up having the upkeep here is just purely money. And the reason for this is these are mercenaries. So this is actually an infantry mercenary unit. From this location, same unit, this is actually an infantry levy unit. So we actually have, these are the different types of units that we can then go and pick up. So if we have a look at the different types, so we've got levies, which we can sort of raise and get rid of fairly easily. There's no real problem with those. They're not standing army units. Then we have the raw. These are the raw levy spearmen. Again, these are just going to be heavy infantry, but levy again. So we're getting that sort of like that silver color. The early light archers again are just going to be skirmisher levy units. These can be raised very quickly at time of need, and then sort of gotten rid of again when we need to. The cavalry is different. We now sort of see this sort of like this gold color. So the cavalry is a standing army unit. Back through this other side. Then we have the early spearmen. Now, to get these early spearmen, we will need... Actually, can we get them in here? No, we still can't do that there. This one's too costly. But this one here is an infantry unit, a standing army unit. So we can actually have... These we can actually end up getting with the... what am I trying to say here? So these are standing army units which are designed to be kept around. So we want our retinue to largely be made up of the standing army units if we can do it. But having said that, the massed archers are interesting. These have got like an attack of 2, defense of 2. These are medium troops. The massed archers this is still just a levy though, with what we then bring in. It's a high manpower sort of to keep these in the field as well. But these would be good to get one of these. And then we actually then have the peasant militia and then the armoured noble cavalry there as well. So we do have one sort of unusual, this is the early knights and sergeants. So this thing's going to be worth its weight in gold. We definitely don't want to be losing that one there. So we've almost sort of, as if we've gotten that from elsewhere, like to sort of come in and help us. So it could be sort of like, for example, early Templars or something like that that's coming to assist us. But we can sort of see the others, and even these heavy crossbowmen. I don't know where we got them from. They must have been sort of like maybe from Poland or somewhere like that. And then we've still got the early spearmen. But we do need to get... This is the only one we actually have that can actually fight as medium troops. I'll just double check that. Just press Control. Yeah, this is going to be just a medium troop. We can use this one as a medium force. So what I'd like to do is just bolster this a little bit in terms of getting something that can then fight in the forests. So if we go and have a look again at our panel through here, and look at the sorry, not this panel. If we go across into the regional decisions, usually you'll start off with a way to actually be able to do like recruit local units. So if I go and do this one through here, using this regional decision, you'll be able to get between 1 and 4 provincial units, depending on their strength. Even if there's no formed province here, these units will not be mercenaries, in contrast to ones recruited through the recruitment queue. So if I go and do this, I'm going to most likely get those axemen, which is exactly what I want. So there must be a friendly leader with at least 1 loyalty rating. So that's actually a good one. And we have some non-standard units there as well. So using this regional decision, You'll be able to get some non-standard units from the region owner. If the target nation has an availability in its roster, usually the exact unit type will be the less prevalent ones in your current army, combination and amount. So this would be interesting again. This decision allows a recruitment of early knights and sergeants, light crossbowmen, heavy crossbowmen, early catapults and trebuchets. I don't know if I want that yet, because I think we're ultimately going to be going into the forests and fighting in the forests. So I'm thinking we've actually got like a few different ones in through here, so we can actually bring these in. This is actually the Holy Order, so we've got 3 of these cards. So encourage a Holy Order to establish a chapter in the region. This may include improving an existing structure, creating one, and or bringing in an additional contingent. The Holy Order with a nearby chapter will often be chosen, so target region must be Catholic. So we can actually target these different regions in around the place if you did want to sort of fund a Holy Order to come in, which I won't do just yet. These do cost a little bit to bring these in, but I think recruiting local units from normally I would be wanting to get the heavier hitting knights and sergeants and things, but I think in this case, because we're going to be fighting in forest, these are going to be much better for us. So let's just go and play that card there. So that's going to sort of then come in. So it's going to cost me 100 money to go and do that one, which is fine. But that will then sort of flesh out my army. And so hopefully we end up with sort of like another three or so of those axemen, which would be ideal. That way I don't have to actually go and recruit them. So initially you do tend to get that card there just to sort of flesh out your army. So in that sense, we've now sort of got everything we needed to do there. If we just go back in, we now just have the building slots. So we have one building slot, we have like a building in here that we can then go and do. Just having a bit of a look at see what we've got. We've got a fortified village, a storyteller. We're looking for things like these bandit lairs. So ransoming the locals, in this case, this one's costing me all sorts of different stuff. So the bandits, these bandits are costing me 2 food, 3 money, and 10 stewardship. So this is in the other little region. Bandits are present in this region will regularly steal and bully the local population until they're dealt with. And so this is an impediment, and we can't just get rid of it. So we have to find a way to do it. So can we remove the presence of an army with at least 100 combat power, and there's a 20% success chance per turn. I did have one of these that didn't actually. I tried it for like 20 turns and it didn't go, and it should go. Like there's a 1 in 5 chance essentially it's going to be removed. Has a chance to be removed each turn with the presence of a local watch, town watch, or night watch. Can be removed using the removed hostilities regional decision, which we don't actually have just yet. Now, if we got a few of these, I'll have a bit of a look around to see if there's any other impediments. You're going to have a little like wolf symbol if it's actually an impediment. So let's have a look at each location. This one here, we've got this is a sterile moor. And so in this case, it's costing me food to have this. So this moor has its charm, but it makes for poor yields when it comes to cultivating the land. There's not much we can do about that. Impediment counts as a tier 1 agricultural building. Has a chance to be removed each turn with the presence of a cattle ranch. What do we have? We've got fallow fields, food storage, and manorial domain. So we've got the large cattle ranch or village gardener. Can be removed using the remove natural obstacle. So this is another one that we wanted to get rid of. There's no other impediments anywhere else in that one there. So we've then got that's not one of ours. This one is one of ours. No impediments there, and no impediments there. So that's actually all okay with what we end up having. So now we can't build anything else in here. So we've actually got the our growth is in 4 turns. We'll end up having another population, which then should give us another position to be able to then go and build something. But to get rid of this one here, we're going to need a card to get rid of it, really. So it was sort of saying that we need to have the remove natural obstacle card. And to remove, we've got 103 there at the moment, and we will end up with more of them. So I'm just going to go and grab that unit and move it across to that location. The black is telling me that it's crossing a actually that's forest there as well. Anyway, not that that matters, but we're going to be crossing a river to get across there. Not that it really matters that much. So we'll move that across to try to dislodge this bandit lair. But again, it's saying remove hostiles is what we can also then do with the cards. So with the regional decisions, what I can do is try to promote some of the other ones into here. So we've got, like, for example, the remove hostiles. We've got remove natural obstacles. Now if I go and you can see it's got shift right click to reduce the odds, shift left click to increase the odds. I'm going to increase the odds there. So this will be so there's more chance of me getting it, but it will actually cost me more to then go and use it. And I think I might also just do that one as well. Just try to bring those two cards in so we can actually then go and use it. So I'm just using it going into expert mode and then just changing the chance that we may get those. There may be other things in here that we just don't need as well. I could always just right click on those, but these do cost me a little bit to then go and sort of do those. I'll just go and close that one off. So it's going to cost me more to bring those in, but they're going to be important just in terms of management. So let's go back into here again, and we've got the 9 open slots. See what's available. So these are sort of like random with what we do end up getting, and these are going to be fairly quick to sort of go and get. So we've got now again, before we really, let's just go and analyze the whole region with what we end up having in through here. So we're getting pretty good food. Yeah, money is only just plodding along, which is not great. So Lee Z is saying, hi Daz, I found your stream through your Dwarf Fortress playthroughs. Great stuff, thank you for that. So, and hi Heart of Mithril. So, sorry guys, I missed a few different comments in through there. But no, welcome. I'm going to be playing Dwarf Fortress when the next update does come back out again. Yeah, let's continue on. All right, so in this case, money is a bit of an issue, but we still have plus 23, which is not too bad overall. Manpower is important, so we're getting plus 11 manpower. Metals would be good for us to get more metals if we could. We can always just sort of see what we end up having with trade goods. So we do actually have some coal there. We don't have any trade goods down in here at all. Oh, that's really crap. We sort of see what's around the place. There's no. Have they got iron up in here somewhere? No, they don't. There's nothing much of value in through here at all in terms of the trade goods. All right, well, actually, let's just start down in this one here, just see if we can sort of build things up. So in this case, what have we got in here? We've got a farm, which will give me food change. Will produce grain, so that will actually can already be imported from a few different other locations. So this one here provides a transversal effect of field drainage. We've got the, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Next one across is a clay pit, produces stone. Get more infrastructure with that one through there. Then we've got the peddler, which will give me a bit more money, which I don't really need at this stage. The local watch. Don't really need that either at this stage. The scribe will give me money but less piety. And then we've got the storyteller. Legacy will go up a little bit. Money will go up a little bit. Infrastructure will go down a little bit, but that's okay. You know, I think I'll just go with the... I'll go with the farm in this instance. So let's just go and get the grain. So that's that one there. Can't do that one. This one over through this other side. Now this is the cattle ranch, which we don't really need much there. We've got livestock. There's already a bit of an overabundance there. Warehouses. This gives me a great amount of infrastructure. That's not bad, actually. That's a tier 2 building. So warehouse is a nice complement to the builder's hall, which we don't have. As resources can be accumulated here before a major project, a part of it also is commonly used to store the local militia weapons. Tier 2 infrastructure building. It does actually add a lot of other things. Getting the tier 2 buildings is going to be useful. It's the only tier 2 building in there. I think I'll just go and get it without really looking at the others. Have a quick look and see. But yeah, that one there is a tier 2 building. If I right click, I can then sort of see where we end up with it, but that's really the end of where it ends up being. So let's just go and grab it. So we'll go and throw that one in there. And then we've got this one over through here. We've done that one. So they're both building. I've already done that one as well, I think. No, we haven't. So in this case, we've got legume farm. Give me another big food bonus. Okay, trade opportunities. There's no extra within trade range. Yeah, that's definitely the one that we want. Right, we'll go that way there. All right, so that's the building queue now done. I don't think there's much else we need to do this turn, to be honest. So let's just end our turn here and see what develops. So it's a WeGo system where you basically give your orders and then it's played out over the course of 6 months. So different units are now moving around. We should be expecting raids from Prussia as well at some point. That's good, we did get the Axeman. We've got 4 units there. Now these are going to be cheaper than what we had because they'll still be part of our retinue. And we're at 46. We're way at the bottom. So we need to get up to 50 before we can really sort of start to do things. So yeah, so unfortunately we're at least we didn't pick up any of these aging tokens. Okay, that's good. Just close that one off. I'll just go that way there. So we end up with the other thing in the game is we end up with all these different sort of information sort of coming through. The Force of Prussia have long planned for this day. Now engage Halkith in battle. So these guys in through here are actually the Halcyon cities are looks like there was some sort of battle in through there. This is a petty chiefdom. Yes, this is them. We're not at war with them yet. Where is Halich? Yeah, that is the one that we're going to be attacking ourselves. So we're ultimately going to sort of end up picking on them as well. Now, in terms of the other things we have, so in Plock, so Masovia has enlisted skilled soldiers, received a new regional decision, so deploy spy network. Received a new regional decision of ennoble a petty landowner. Neither of those I really want to be using. And we had a decision which I didn't show before, but we couldn't have done anything anyway. Now we've got 5 of these little axemen. Now these have all come through. These are just levies. This is ideal for us. So we're just going to go and attach it to this group. So they're going to now march across into this new terrain, this new group, and then we should be able to get this one over 100 at that point. And after moving, they will actually then stabilise to over 100 anyway. So, actually, did I not... I did change that one there. Sorry, this is the commander we have through here. This is a 1-1 commander. We ourselves are a 2-2, which is actually good. We have a 1-2-2. We don't have a 2-1, which I'd be happy with. I'll keep it with the 1-1. That'll still be okay, I think. All right, the new claim. So whispers of Nicholas's desire for Pomesania reach the ears of Masovia, sparking a conflict over ownership. So there is actually, we're going to see little sort of things like this. So what have we got over through there? This is Pomesania, back in through that side. So this is actually where we've got the, which one is it? Anyway, we've got a new claim there somewhere, which is fine. Oh, there it was, that one. All right, so that's okay. And so this is one that we can actually now sort of legitimately try to get control of. You've received a new regional decision, deploy a spy network. So I don't really need to be doing that one. And we also then got received a new regional decision, enable a petty landowner. So shift right click to reduce the odds here, blah, blah, blah. If I go and click on that one through there, Among the freemen, a few now hold a decent parcel of land. They can be nobled into minor nobility, thus strengthening our hold in the region. So we'll promote a freeman into a noble position. A 25 legacy bonus is granted by doing this. Region must be owned. You must have at least one freeman population. Again, we've got the 4 different territories there. I'm not going to do that. Not yet anyway. Now, in this instance, we've sort of now done everything we need to do. One thing that can be useful is to just go and see free building slots. And so if I can't build something, it's going to be this grey colour. If I can build, it'll be a different colour than the green is showing that we are currently building. That can be just a useful way of sort of seeing when we can actually go and build something. So let's go and end our turn again here. So everything else is pretty healthy. Our money has gone right down. So again, our authority, we've now got a 3.3 coming through. So we're still going to be under where we need to be, but we are going higher and higher each time, which is good. So we'll just get out of this danger position. And then we've just got to hope that we get rid of those bandits. We're at 50 now. We're at 50. We still haven't picked up an aging token, which is good. So, and we're still way down below. So we now have to get up to 51, 52. So we're still a couple of points away from getting out of here, which is actually okay. I think we can do this. We're going to go up to nearly 3. So next turn we should be okay. That didn't combine. Normally they combine. If you just right click on the other unit, they'll merge. But I'll just go in and get this army to merge with this army. So they're now been placed inside here. So we now actually have 100 points, which is enough for us to then try to trigger getting rid of this impediment. So this impediment hopefully will then be destroyed as we sort of do all this. Now I would like to take one of these locations. You can see the garrison in there as well, just some early light archers. Let's see what else we've got. Yeah, so we are starting to sort of put claims down through Prussia. So there's war over here. And then really don't have any of this stuff we need to worry about. Alright, and you received a new regional decision, absorb vassal. Yep, that's okay. So we'll, again, we don't really need to do anything else this turn, so let's just wait for a turn or so. I am tempted to go and grab either one of these now. But I think this one here would be a good one for us. Or we start the process against Prussia. And at the moment, with those units that we've got, things are sort of working out fairly well in terms of the metal, the manpower, and the money. Now, are we going to be out of the red area? We should be able to raise fairly fast. Yep, so we've almost hit the top rung. So we've sort of rocketed right up to 53 now. And so just like next term we'll be up in here where we can start to sort of try to become we're starting to move ahead. But if we start to go to war, we're going to then, we're going to fall backwards a little bit. Now where's Prussia? There it is, down the bottom here. All right, so that's good. We've now sort of corrected that one through there. We've still got good manpower. We have up to 238 musters. And the equipment production allows us to get a bit more. Money-wise, we're doing pretty well. I am thinking, at the moment we have a 10 units. We have a retinue of 10. So that means that every single one of these is part of our retinue. And if I just press Control, we'll then sort of see the upkeep. It says the upkeep is part of the retinue. And so we're not paying any money, we're not paying any metals, we're paying a manpower cost of 2 for this particular unit. I don't need any more of these axemen. They're going to be fine for everything we're doing. So these are levies, but they're still part of our retinue. I can get something more expensive, or I can just get something nice and cheap. If I got, I would end up, these would cost me a fair bit more in terms of manpower. I really can't afford much more than 1 or 2 other light units, because the limit we have is the summed abilities is a retinue allowance of 10. After those first 10 that we actually have in through here, at that point it then becomes a we have to then start to pay for it, and the cost for us that's what I'm concerned about is this manpower. What we could do is have a look at skirmishers and just maybe pick up a skirmisher or so. Like maybe 1 or 2 different units. So we do actually have the early light archers. And so these are going to cost me 5 manpower of the 15. And we have slingers as well, which cost the same. Good skirmisher, extra fatigue margin of 3 against the enemy. Agile, attacking bonus of +1, active in forest and rough regions. This one here is doesn't work well in forest, so the slingers are going to be better off. Yeah, we're going to be better off with slingers. Let's go and build one of these, I think. I mean, I can afford 2. It's the upkeep is 3 money, 5 manpower, but these are just going to flesh out a little bit of what we have. So if I just right click to add to the queue, so I'll pick up 2 of those next turn. That'll be fine. And so that's going to then make our full component was going to be a little bit more balanced than what it was before for when we go into the forest. So I'll still stay where I am for another turn. And we've received a new regional citizen Crusaders, which again, I don't need it just yet. I think we want to do as much of that ourselves. Our stronghold and place of influence throughout our realm are a show of might, yep, blah, blah, blah. So we end up getting an extra bonus authority because of what we're doing. We're going to go up again by another 2.3, which is good. Now, if I declare war, it's going to cost me authority. This is what I did wrong last time. I just was a bit too aggressive. Against the pagans won't matter as much. We'd like to get rid of that impediment if we can. There goes the Prussians. Oh, there's a big force of Prussians coming through. So they're marching down in towards our territory. But we're not at war with them, so we'll probably just let them pass. We can now at least see what we're going to be up against. Yeah, we're now in the top rung of authority. This is important that we try to stay here. So what we end up getting is, at the moment, we're a stable petty kingdom, and that's sort of so that's where we currently are. We definitely don't want to be collapsing downwards. So let this all play itself out. Okay, so the armies of Prussia march towards Masovia, determined to conquer their land. So another nation has declared war on us. Okay, so it looks like we now no longer have a decision. Okay, we basically are going to have to fight Prussia rather than trying to take over extra land. So we now actually have a war. It's now a harsh season, which means that money, etc., is going to be going backwards a little bit. Now we do actually have Masovia was raided by Prussia, and the invaders managed to plunder some towns. So unfortunately, we do actually have now our slingers. So we've now got those where they are. New regional decision, remove hostiles. So we do actually now have this one. So I might as well go and play it. So I'm just going to go and play remove hostiles on this region here. So we'll rather than actually just rely on these guys to get rid of it, we'll remove that one with that particular one. And so there we go. Yeah, so it's progressing. We're in the progress tier has now been reached. So what that means is, if you're sort of newish to the game, I'll just go back out to it so you can sort of see it in sorry, the first one there, so I did actually grab what I needed to remove the group that was in here, this one here. So the bandit lair will be removed next turn. So I don't, even though I've got an army here, I'll still just play that card. Now this is, what do we go through here? This is Sasna. So we've got a group of Prussians coming through. So they're only a smallish group. But these are, you can see they're quite strong. Picked Baltic warriors. So these are infantry. So if we have press control. So these are standing unit, attack of 7, defense of 7. Fairly good hit points and effectiveness. So again, they're pretty cheap. They're steady. They've got a charge bonus. They've got better armor than what they would normally have. So they're pretty good. And then we've got this Baltic Noble Cavalry in through here as well. So they actually just have some cavalry. So these are fairly strong. It's a very, very small but strong, the actual group that's coming through. So they are attacking across by the looks of things. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to move into this territory. Let's just, we could push back. I think I'll just still just stay here for one more turn. Now we've just finished building through here, so we can actually now go and grab another building. Again, there's no tier 2s, just having a quick look through. There's the cattle ranch, which we don't have anything there that we need to do. Okay, so produces livestock trade opportunity, as there is no extra within trade range. Within a trade range of 3, there are 7 needed, 5 consumed, and 6 produced. So that's actually an opportunity again, just to get better trade. Wise Woman Hut, Butchery, Reinforced Palisade, Scribe, and then the Huddled Shanties. Let's go with the cattle ranch. New population in Plock. That means we should be able to build there, which we still can't. Oh, we're on the limits right now. We start off at -1. I did see that one before. So another 5 turns, and we then at least get one more building slot at that stage. I don't know whether to go off and chase them. I think I will. So we've got no, there's no river in the way here. So let's go and move in and just see where we actually meet up with them. Again, whether we defend or attack won't really matter that much. Although, what have they got? Yeah, they've got attackers. So if we can attack first, he doesn't have any real bonuses with the attack. So this is Mackage. Alright, that's fine. Okay, let's see how we go this time. So we've got ongoing war against Prussia, duration 1, there's 0 war score at this stage, and in we go. It's into the snow. So one way or another, we should end up with a meaningful fight. Yeah, they stopped moving in, and now we go in. So we're attacking them, so which is good. Now they've got a combat power of 151 with 11 units, so they've got defense, they've got a couple of different things that we're now attacking into here. So we've got a combat power of 110, so we're like a long way behind in terms of combat power. This is an attack into the forest, but I'm going to export this battle out. So we're going to be playing this one. So even though we're behind, it's going to be still hard, but we'll see how we go. So we'll see if we can use superior, tabletop mechanics to get our way through here. So actually, this one here, they've got a 1-1 as well. Anyway, let's export the battle. So overwrite the old one, yes. So battle exported to Field of Glory 2 Medieval. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to now launch that. Just going to grab myself a drink of water while this launches. Now, I'm pretty sure you don't need any of the actual DLCs to actually play Field of Glory 2 Medieval with Kingdoms. So it's sort of they're just part of the stock standard base game. All right, so it's Polish versus Baltic. Let's get into it, see how we go. So this is going to be a hard one, actually, for us to then go and play out. So we're going into a forested region, so you can sort of see there's already a lot of foresting through this other side. We just have a little to see what we're actually up against. So we've got forest on either side. We do have a big open area in the middle there where our knights will be able to operate. We've got a fair few. We've got pretty more than what we need in terms of the actual knights. So they're going to have to dominate the central area. Now we have, okay, let's just go through each of the actual units. So let's just zoom around so we can sort of see what's going on. If I press Shift 3, I then get to zoom in on the different units, which will make it a little bit more immersive, I guess, for how things actually do work. Each one of these, if I go and press the, is it the I key or the, it's not right click, what is it, control click? There we go. Control click will then bring up what they actually are. And so these actually all have, when you're playing this, and I'll explain now how this one actually does work. So Glimmer is saying you can't fight battles in the base game. Yes, you can, but they don't play like this. And so if you're wanting to play the base game games, if you want, I can show you what that actually looks like, and we can actually go back and play. I'll play this battle out in Kingdoms, and then I'll come back and play it in here properly, and then we'll just go back. So I can, at the point, we're still actually in the middle of the WeGo system when we've actually moved back out of here, but I can go back and open up the game at that point and play it in the game itself. So I'll show you what that is. If we just go and quit this game, it's fairly, I've got choices here of the way I want to play it. So if I go back into Kingdoms, so no, it's a good question. So so if I want to be playing it in here, I'll just go back into load. Now there'll be, see how it says pre-battle, turn 5, Masovia, late campaign. So it's actually now got, that's the one that we've got. So if I go and load that one in, it means that it's pre-battle, and I then get the same choice that I had before, to export the battle out or not. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, the export has got the save of the game as well. So the export that goes across into Field of Glory 2 Medieval has still got the exact position in the game. So I can play it out here to show it, but I can also then just go back and play the actual battle out. So I will be playing the battle out, but this is the way that the in-game system works. Because the game is sort of built where you could be playing it multiplayer or whatever it might be, the WeGo system has to have a way of actually getting it's already played out the battle, to be honest. I can view the battle to see what actually happened with the actual battle itself. I can just view the report and see what the result would be. Now, for us, this is probably going to be a difficult one, and I'll go through and explain how the actual combat system works. It's actually easier to play the battles out in medieval than it is to play it out in this game. So if we go and view the battle, this is it in through here. Now there's a whole lot of different parameters that are actually kicking in with this particular one. The first one is what's called frontage, and you'll see there that we've got the terrain is forest, and it doesn't tell us what the frontage is in through here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's only 8 wide going back into the actual group itself. And so we're actually we're attacking from the south, and they're defending from the north up through here. And so what ends up happening here is we've got a line in the front there for skirmishing. We have a line through here, which is our main battle line, and then we have a line here for support. So 3 different lines coming into the actual combat itself. It's already all been happened. It's an auto battle system, but this just shows how the battle actually then took part. So the frontage is important. Like in a plane, I think we have like 12 or even more. I forget, it might even be 16 wide. So certain of them can be extremely wide. And having more units than the enemy, usually for the big open areas, is important. But for areas like, for example, hills and forest and stuff like that, where it's very compressed, the frontage, you can usually, like 8 units is really what you can get by with. Support will then just add to the combat effectiveness of what's actually happening in through the middle here. So it's played out in essentially 2 main phases. The first one is just to have all of the archer type units, and we've just got our slingers that we actually have picked up are going to be firing randomly at their troops, and they've got 2 light archers which are going to fire randomly at my troops. The troops themselves, when I hover over there, you'll see with the Slavic Armoured Noble Cavalry, they've got like what's called hits, which is like the hit points, so 4 hit points. And effectiveness is essentially like morale or readiness. Just think of it in those sort of terms. So we've got a total of 9 hit points essentially for that particular unit. We have a look at back over theirs. Theirs has got 3 and 5. They've got 8. So they've got a little bit more through there. You'll see down through there, they've also then got a combat support bonus of 2. Terrain defense bonus there of 2 as well. Because they're actually in a forest and they're defending, they end up with 2 extra. I'll show you that when we get into it. Let's just go and. So the first battle is the ranged phase. So they're randomly choosing this one here, and so both of theirs are going to be targeting that one. Both of mine are targeting these picked Baltic warriors. Now, we did lose in through here. We lost 1 effectiveness for that group. This one here lost 3 effectiveness. So it's down to 3 hit points, but 2 effectiveness have now gone. These now go back in behind, and so these become the support for their forces that are then going to be attacking. And now it's played out where every single unit will then attack the unit in front of it, and so there's like a combat that then sort of takes place. So when we go in, so the first one is going to be these early knights and sergeants are going to be fighting against these picked Baltic warriors. And when we have a look at them, we can sort of see down through here, this is the effectiveness back at the top through here, and the hit points down through here. So they've got 3 and then 4 in reserve. We have 5 and 4, so 4 and 4 in through here with the early knights and sergeants. So about the same sort of number in through there. We then actually have different things that sort of come back in. Now, its combat rating, when we have looked at this once before, was 8. This combat rating was 7, so we can got the combat rating of 8, the combat rating of 7 through there. Now, we're fighting in a forest, so because these are cavalry, we have a -2 because they're clumsy in the forest, but they have a +3 because they have these heavy crossbowmen in support. So these are actually giving me a big support bonus of 3. So that sort of raises the total combat rating to 9. So we have a combat rating there of 9. These guys here have a support bonus of 2 from these units behind them. These light archers are giving them a 2 bonus. If we go to this one, this is also a 2, but these are a 3. So these actually these crossbowmen are better. But then they also then have the terrain defense. Because they're defending in a forest and we attack into the forest, they end up sort of getting this terrain defense for the forest terrain. If it was an open plain, they wouldn't get it. So this is sort of how again, they've done a great job of distilling information down to very, very succinct numbers to be able to then sort of manage these sorts of combat. So they've already got an attack rating there of like they're two better off than what we are. We then actually end up rolling 10-sided dice, and you can see there's a few other little things in through this other side. These guys here have got a thing called unstoppable. These are very, very high levels, and so they end up with where this is the minimum roll is they're regular and they're also unstoppable. So if they roll less than a 6, they'll keep on rolling until they get a 6 or more. So for us, we're also unstoppable with our like the essentially being the knights, but we're only recruits. We don't have the experience yet, so we only have a minimum roll of 5. Now everyone, no matter what, gets to roll at least 1 dice, and then depending on where are the attackers, and so we have an extra 1 in through there for attacking. They have a 1 extra there for defense. So it's going to be a random 10-sided die. Whichever is the highest out of those two will be added to that and then applied there. And whatever the highest is out of these will be applied here. So let's just go and have a quick look. Now it's even, and you'll see there it's a stalemate. And we ended up taking 1 hit point each. So we took an effectiveness hit and a hit point hit. It's probably one of the worst results. Technically, you lose less if you lose by 1. So it just means it's more of a hard-fought battle. So in this instance, we rolled a 9 over here. They rolled a 7. Difference of 2 adds up. They're both 18s. So these here were rolled, and so they were a minimum of 6. So that one there was a null result. And so I'm expecting we'll lose this combat, by the way. But this is, so that one there was like, those two got taken off. So if it goes into future rounds, then that will be, that will take into account. Next one is we're now going in with our, they've got their picked warriors again. In this case, they've only got a 3 minimum roll because this is the one that we had targeted before. Their effectiveness has gone right down, so they're only fresh, which means that they don't have as much in through there. We're still unstoppable. We have a minimum roll of 5. They've got a minimum roll of 3. But they've got a 3 difference in terms of the actual combat power. So maybe the minimum rolls will help a little bit. Let's just see how we go. Yeah, we got a 10 there. So we actually won by 1, but we only took 1 effectiveness off them. So they're now no longer fresh. They've now lost all of their effectiveness, but they've still got all their hit points. So again, it can just be played out pretty quickly, but that's actually a slight advantage to us. The next one over through here is they've got a 3, like in through this side again. They've got like these are ungainly, but they still actually have the terrain defense. We're clumsy because we're spearmen, and so again, there's 3 difference in through there. They have a 5 minimum roll. They should definitely win this one. Yep, they did. And so in this case, difference of 3 was the result. So effectiveness, hit point effectiveness, so that's actually sort of how it's been applied to sort of to minimise what's going on through there. This next one here, we've got our axemen. This is actually where our axemen are good. These are agile. These are exactly what we want them for. They fight well in the forest, going up against Baltic warriors in through this other side. They're strong. They have a minimum roll there of 3. We have a minimum roll here of 3, so it's all even. Because we're attacking into the forest, they get the +2 defense in through there. But overall, these guys, if they were attacking us, we'd have an advantage here. So we'll see how we go. And they've got a slight win there. And because we only had 1 hit point, we end up being destroyed. So these are very, very easy to kill. So again, the first one comes off the effectiveness. The next one comes off the hit points. So unfortunately, we do lose that particular unit. When the archery takes place, if that one had been targeted with archery, it would have just come off the effectiveness. All right, back on the other side. We then actually going back through the other side. So this one here again, big discrepancy with what's going on through this other side. And we got smashed. We did evade, and so we've been able to sort of just pull back 1 point. And so even though we lost the encounter, we're still evading. Now we've got the next one, which is, again, they've got a slight advantage because of the terrain. Big hits. And luckily we just survived there with 1 more hit point. This one here again as well. This is even. Again, the axemen. But again, enough to kill us because we only got 1 hit point. These are glass cannons, essentially, what we have in through here. And then we have another group coming back in. And in this case, we get the win, so we have a slight win through there. Now, that's so everything has now happened through the main attack. And so, depending on how much we have in terms of the of an advantage. Now, we actually lost a fair few, so I think they'll end up now doing a pursuit, where they'll actually then get some free hits on it against us. Yep, so there's now a pursuit phase. They follow us down, and they killed off a lot more of our units. At that point, Prussia has now won the battle, and that's it. It then goes back out, and it then continues with the turn. So that's sort of where we ended up, but we lost different units through there. Some other units escaped, but they've been much more diminished. So that's the way that the combat is played out. Now, you don't have to play it that slowly, of course. You can play it pretty quickly. If I just go back out, I'm just going to press escape. And I'm just going to go back out again, because we are going to, of course, be playing. I'll just return to the main menu. Just go back it this way. We'll exit the game. Go back into medieval, and we'll just play that battle out now in the tabletop. So it actually, so the same thing goes for empires. Yes, it does. If you're playing Field of Glory Empires, exactly the same combat scenario. But depending on what you're attacking and how things are working, there's different things that apply to the die rolls. So we should lose this battle, all things being equal. So we do need to sort of check things out, I guess, with this particular combat. So this one here has now been, with the export that we end up having, so if we go into battles, we go into kingdoms battles, and now we'll just fight this actual battle out. So this has been pulled across into Field of Glory 2 Medieval. It's the same. It's the same group that we have. Sometimes the numbers of the forces will be sort of tweaked a little bit to get the balance better with whatever's happening. But we should, all things being equal, lose this particular combat. So we have to think very carefully. Okay, how are we going to defend this one? We have some advantages, like we have some advantages with, for example, our guys. Like these axemen are good in the forest, so they're going to be good. Now you can see down through here, if I go and click on these, I'll just go back to where we were. I'll just go Shift 3 again, just so we can sort of zoom in on the on what we actually have in through this other side. You'll see there that our one big group of heavy crossbowmen has been split off into 2 different groups for this particular combat. The axemen back through here again. You'll notice that there's things like disordering, so moderately disordered in through this other side. These are medium foot. If they were light foot, they wouldn't be disordered at all. Moderately is not really a big problem. If I have, like these here are early defensive spearmen. Actually, these are also moderately disordered. They should be severely disordered, I would have thought. Still rough ground. They're going to be moderately disordered as well. These are steady. These are sort of back out through here, just being cavalry. We do actually have skirmishers. These will be, if I put them into rough ground, they don't have any real problem. So they can go anywhere. I pretty much want to keep them probably in the forest, I would guess. Just so we can sort of come and do a little bit of work out the front here, and then sort of fight from the forest mainly with our other troops. Let's go Shift 3 again, and we'll just sort of move back out. So we actually have another force back in through here. The slingers can fight. They can sort of skirmish in the forest if they need to. They could be caught, but I'm thinking we actually end up with that we actually move mainly these axemen into the forest. So I'll throw them across into the base there. Where's the other ones we have? The slingers there. I'll move them out as well. I'll just keep them in the forest. We've got these in the forest over this other side. The knights and sergeants, so I definitely want to keep them in the middle. So we'll just get them back up. We've got the axemen. Now these are still moderately disordered in the forest, but I think that ultimately they're going to be okay. So I'm just going to pop them back in there. These spearmen are steady, but if I put them in the forest, they're severely disordered in the forest. So this is why we don't want to be using them in that sort of capacity. On that road, they were actually okay. Actually, that's still not any good. Yeah, they're steady on the road. But I'm going to be wanting to put them in the front. I'll just go and throw them across into here. So we'll end up sort of using these out as a bit of a front line. These, we've got one in through there. We should have a total of 4, but I'm not sure where the others all are. I'll just go and place that one back over here as well. So I've only got like 2 on this other side. I think I might put all of them across here. Just stack this one side up. And we'll sort of avoid the anything from coming in from the forest on the other side. So we'll just keep on making better use of everything coming back the other way. All right, so now we've got so much cavalry, and we're going to be wanting to pretty much like have everything sort of coming back the other side. Let's just go and switch these ones over, because we'll sort of move them down. So these are these heavy crossbowmen are steady. They're steady, so they can actually sit in the in this rough terrain. These are severely disordered. They have to come off the terrain. And we've got all these cavalry. We've got heaps of them, actually. So much more than what we have, in reality, of what we ended up getting. So let's just go and get the heavy cavalry in the middle here. Now, these are just noble cavalry. A bit more spearmen there, actually. I'll move that one across. And what I think I'll do is I'll move the early knights and sergeants. I'll just pop them on the tracks, so they're actually on that road there. See, that's okay. Just see what else we've got. This is our commander in chief again. Early knights and sergeants. I'll place that one there as well. So they're sort of on the road. These guys, we're just going to position them on the front. So we'll try to sort of end up where we end up stacking like one side with the knights. I might just pop 2 on this side. Alright, that'll do us just for the setup. So we're saying you might even consider dehorsing a couple of the calves to make a bigger spear line. Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking that once we get going, I'm going to be needing... I just want to... This is the anvil, this is the hammer, with these guys being a bonus. Yeah, I don't know, actually. We've got 3. I've already got 3 spearmen. Now these are going to be weaker than the enemy coming through. I think I'll stick with what I've got. I think I'll keep them all mounted. So what Sev's saying there is I can actually go back to these guys, and I can actually dismount these if I'm wanting to, just to get like a heavy troop that I can actually have fighting on the ground. So these are they'll just be swordsmen. These will just be swordsmen as well, but these are armored. These are armored as well. Quality's below average for these spearmen. Look, I think I'll just keep it where it is. Shall move those over. Yep, so I just want to make sure that the leadership is sort of with the correct people. Yeah, that's okay there, I think. I might throw one of the commanders back across. Probably this one here. Actually, I can't bring that one across. I can bring this one. I don't know if I can. This is the sub-general. I might throw the Commander-in-Chief in with these. It's because we're going to have to sort of, this is probably a bad idea. And we're just going to switch to its command. So they'll be together. All right, so the Commander-in-Chief is sort of in the middle here with the, this will help just bolster whatever happens in the middle of the actual combat. All right, let's get going. And this is going to be a hard fight. So we're going to have a disadvantage here. They do have some forces back out this other side, just some light archers. They've got Baltic Noble Cavalry coming back through. Then they've got their picked warriors in through this other side. So they're unmaneuverable. Their armour is only protected, so they're going to still be able to fight in the rough. They are swordsman, impact foot. All right, so interesting force that's actually in there. All right, let's just get our side ready. Just going to move forward one. And then just these guys, just they're still going to be able to fire over the top. So we'll just keep them where they are, and they're steady in the. Why are they moderately disordered? Not sure why that happened. Now we want to keep everyone nicely hidden, and there may be some of their troops in here as well, but at least we'll sort of be able to try to get in behind them on this other flank. This will be a bit of a surprise packet for them. Keep them back. And I'm just going to keep these back as well at this stage. So there's definitely going to be more troops extending further out. Hi Began, how are you going? Let's go and end our turn there. Now they may not move for a few turns, which again I'm okay with that. It's just going to give us a time to move in. So we're sort of hidden while we're in the forest here. And we'll just position ourselves in here somewhere. No one else to really bother moving. Now they will move eventually, but just not yet. It's getting close to where their front line should be. Seem to grab it. There we go. Okay, we'll move those in. And nothing else to move. So if we have a look at that's their front line. Now if we hit there, Not seeing anything. I think we may be... I don't think they may not be there. Well, that sort of does give me an opportunity to come out of the woods if they do attack us. Again, this is sort of where I want to be in terms of just hidden away a little bit until they sort of show themselves. So we're hidden. We've now done sort of like this basic scouting into the forest there. Here they come. So their skirmishers are going to be heading out across this other side, which is going to be hard for us. We're going to have a hard time dealing with them. I think we'll just stay on the tracks where we are. And we're sort of in position now, so let's just move across. Yeah, we'll just stay where we are. Well, these aren't moving at all. I don't want to go after them either. It's not something I really want to be targeting. I prefer them to be coming down to me. It may end up just being a dissolve away into just a draw. So there's a little bit there. Well, we can start to charge. Let's just do this. Because these are sort of like medium style cavalry, I can actually sort of just rotate these around. I don't really want these rushing any further forward than that at this stage. Let's leave those where they are. Okay, now they're moving up. They've seen our guys in the forest there. I might just range a little bit further across this side. Just leave the others where they are. See what damage we can do. I'll just stick with one of them. They should be disordered again as well. Oh, they disrupted those already. Yeah, moderately disordered there. do that? Hang on. There we go. A little bit of combat. Looks like they're going to be chasing down this way, so let's just now move across and get these ones ready. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Undo the move. It's meant to rotate. So these are a bit unwieldy in the forest here, but we'll see how we go. Don't really want to be charging off with these units just yet. This isn't good. Not a good start. These across. Now we can attack them. Let's just see what we would get. This is not good for us at all, actually. Yeah, we'll have to see how we go. There's more coming in. Now, I do have an attack here, and we do have a slight chance to win this. Unfortunately, we've got other forces coming back the other way. You know, I think I'm better off over here. Try to get a flanking shot. I think this is. I think we've screwed up here pretty badly, but we'll just see how we go. Are they moving back this way? They have actually caught us. We did rally, that's good. Now it's been pulled out. This one is now back in here. Whoops. It's hard to pick these up. There's one more in there. Again, it's just not good enough for us. Let's just let it go for a little while and just see how we go. I think it might be time to bring these up. Just get them ready to put pressure on. So you can see there, they don't really have a good chance against that one. If I smash these, they're going to run further back and then we'll end up being behind them, which I don't mind that idea. Similarly here as well. Won't attack. I want to get this one right out of here. I will move it across the other side, and we'll just end up sort of getting it to run away. These are still too far behind with what they can do. Now we're in trouble. Okay, I've screwed this up pretty badly here, I think, guys. We've fallen into our own trap. We've done a bit of damage there. Let's go and hit it in the flank, because it has turned around a little bit. Nothing much happening. I'll leave that one back there because I think there's still one more in the edge there. Now these are going to be hard for us to win. If I attack these, eventually we win it, but the first one's going to be too difficult for me. So I'll just move up. God, these are tricky. These are really tricky. Really uncomfortable for me. Just smash our way past those. We did actually get those now. This is now surrounded. We fell back, which is good. I'll just keep these where these are. We'll end up running away if we get attacked, I think. Let's just keep them where they are. All right, we'll end our turn there. Yep, here they come. Now they should run back over here. It's indecisive. Yep, they're broken. Unfortunately, we're going to keep on running. Our group is dispersed, way back over there. Now, unfortunately, we're too unwieldy to be able to get a flanking shot there. We do have a shot here. It's held firm, unfortunately. And what I want to do here is I want to put pressure on this unit. I can't rotate around, but it's just going to put pressure on. If that one attacks me, I'll then actually get a flanking shot there next turn. I'll have a flanking shot in here, so we're still sort of doing okay there. So just going to apply that. If they, yeah, don't want to bounce back out of that one. Leave that one where that is as well. Again, we have a win there, but I think I'll just stay back. Sub-General, that's the Commander-in-Chief back there. We'll keep that one where that is. Really can't do anything with that unit there just because it's fragmented or disordered. I think that's everyone. They dare not attack now because of this one putting pressure on. But we're going to be able to do a flanking attack in through here. Don't keep on running, that's good. Yep, so they've had to turn. That's going to hurt us. Yeah, they've got more forces now coming back through. These are tricky, actually. Very tricky. We still held firm, which surprises me. Now, we do have the shot in here. This is going to be the one. This is going to... cohesion will drop on contact. So we're going to now do a charging attack with these axemen. Been disrupted. Come on, do more than that. No, that's all we got. Oh, there we go. They're gone. Now, that now puts pressure on this one. Because all I need to do now is just turn this one around, and then I'm going to be able to ultimately get a flanking shot here because I've now got two attacking. This one won't know what to do, to be honest. So this is good. This is very, very good. We're in a bit of a bad position here. Now the starting point here is not what we want. Yeah, it's not good enough. We do have this one surrounded, but not this turn. So they're going to have to try to break through here. I think I'll charge this one just to move everything out the back. It just puts pressure on that one. This one will now move around as well, bring that one back. And just keep these where they are. It's disrupted, that's great. That now does change the complexion of everything. But I think I'll just leave it for one more turn because it's going to have to... It can't really extract itself from there other than by charging into these and trying to break through. That one there can potentially hit this one. Yeah, we still have a bad loss there. Well, it really can't go anywhere. At least it can. Well, that was a shame. Oh, that was a shame. I didn't block it off enough. I wish I could take that one back. All right, let's keep it going. Yeah, they're broken. it. This is too big. Give that a go. We're holding firm. Now, do we break cohesion? Do we do it here? Not this turn, unfortunately. Well, that really, we screwed this one up, didn't we? Try to keep that one back if we can. If we can hold on there for one more turn, that would be awesome. This one I don't think we're going to be able to hold on. Oh no, that's okay. We can smash these now. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. Bring these back in. All right, it's going to be a hard-fought battle, I think. Oh, I do get a bit of a win there. Still escaping, unfortunately. And now, yeah, they're going to make life difficult for us there, but we'll still see how we go. Can't do anything else there. They're all okay. This one's trying to get back in, but this one's struggling as well. All right, we'll end our turn again. Oh, damn it, that one's back up to full. The quality is just too much for me. Now we're in trouble. Good. That one rallied. Now this one should break cohesion. Yep, cohesion will drop on contact because we're coming in from the flank. It's now fragmented, so that will then run very, very soon. Nothing much just yet. Nothing. This one's going to be a real problem for us. Now this one here, unfortunately, they get the attack in behind us. There's really nothing I can do about it. Just trying to get them out of the forest. All of these are tricky. Yeah, we have a big loss at this very, very start with all of these. I can attack them. They're moderately disordered. I'm going to move up to the top. So we're steady on the top there. We need this one to go. We need this to hold on. That loss is going to be too much. Now I've got a flanking shot there, whichever way it goes. So we'll leave that one where that is. Now this group, I think I'm going to bring this one up just to give support back up here. Just get this one ready as well. Just to block that one in. Alright, that should do us, I think. Ooh, that was not good, but still holding firm. Again, they're sort of, these are impact troops, which makes this really quite difficult. That's good. We do get to smash them now. That's indecisive. This one should break. Yep, there we go. So we're getting up there. We're getting up towards the victory that we need. Expensive, but we are doing it. Now we have this is a flanking shot here. Cohesion will drop on contact. And that's all we got. So nothing much there. I'm going to put pressure on this one now. These are all under stress. Let's move that one back out again. And this is going to be a problem for us because that's going to be pushed back even further. We better see what happens here. It's okay, it's indecisive. The impact phase is over. Nothing much else we can do there. Now this one here is in an interesting situation. If I go and attack it, it's bad until the next phase because they do fight so well. If I attack with this one, it's going to be terrible for me because we're actually fighting with somebody that's severely disordered. But if I attack, I think I will actually do this now. Just try to hold on. Yeah, that's okay. It's indecisive, but that's okay. The next phase, we're then going to have a flanking shot. Even though it's a bad one, it's still going to be helpful. So we'll still have that one for next turn. These are all fine where they are. We don't need to be attacking those. That one's coming up. That one's keeping that one locked away. This one's here to flank next phase if we can just hold on here. So if we do, we should be okay there, I think. Now this one here, we've still got this attack going in. It's pretty even. I can move the general across. Let's just do that for now. So we'll just get him across with this group. That gives us a slight advantage with the prediction. No, but still actually nothing much. We're now going to move ourselves up into a flanking position there. And then these, we have the flanking position here. So we'll just go and turn them around to attack that one. Unfortunately, we didn't do enough damage there. And really, we don't have, this is not a good result for us. but they're going to have to make up their mind as to what they're going to do. So let's just go and put these in here just so we've actually got this one surrounded as well. We've actually done okay, again, just positionally. We've actually been able to put our forces, the right forces in the right locations, I think. So this one here, we just need this one to hold on. I'm just going to rotate this one around just in case it somehow manages to push our troops back off the top, just so we've still got a flanking attack on it. So we can't do it this turn, because if we do, it's still not it's not actually a flanking attack, because they started off by facing through the diagonal. In our turn, this is where the heavy crossbowmen are great. Hold on. Oh, fragmented. It's still okay. It's still okay. It's disrupted. This is good. This is going to break. This should be the end of it. That's okay as well. Now, enemy general has fallen, and our generals fell as well. So both generals fell, fighting each other. There's been disruptions all the way around. Now we do actually have a rear attack here, which is going to be a win for us. It's evading out. Just keep on attacking this one. I couldn't block that one off. Now, can we get the shot in here? Killing blow. Not this turn. Did hold firm, unfortunately. Okay, let's now smack this one in the side. This one now is a flank charge, so cohesion will drop. And now we should have an advantage in here as well. Fairly big one. It's been fragmented, so that's going to run very, very soon. This one here, we have the flanking shot here as well. Come on, big one, please. Big one, please. Nope, not enough. Not enough. But it is now disrupted. I can hit it again. I'm going to do that again. And I'm probably better off just smacking this one again. But it's actually, no, we lose too much. But the next phase we don't. So I will charge in and just hope that we, 20 is a lot to lose. This general. Yeah, we're just biding our time here. But this is actually okay. Gee, this is tight. Leave that one where that is. If it attacks us, we run away. Put pressure on that one. There's really not much else we can do at this stage, so we will end our turn there. They're moving up. They won't be able to get too involved. Come on. The ones on top should have the big advantage. This one should do damage. Nope, it still didn't do damage. It's holding firm, but we have now the flanking shot. This should do it. Yes, that's broken. That may be enough to win the game. Oh, we rallied there as well. It's still not enough. What do we need to get to? Forget the objective, routing at least 40% of their troops and 25% more than you've lost. Now, we've only lost 7 with our routing. They've lost 32. So just one more to rout, and I think we're done. So let's just go back in and route this one here. So this is a flanking charge now. And that should be enough to smack it. There it goes. It's now broken. We're now at 40, which is exactly where we want it to be. And we should be able to smack this one as well. Still fighting. Yeah, it's attrition here. These are hard fighters. Very hard. We've got a standoff in here. They can't really do much. Again, if I charge in, the prediction is that we lose the initial charge, so I don't want to be doing that. Can't do anything with that one either at this stage. We do have a win there for the first bit. Where we can use this guy to come in and do a flanking charge. Next one. We lose the first one, then we start to win after that. I don't think I need to, so let's just keep it where we are, because I think this is a victory for us. We're 33 ahead of them. There's really nothing much else we can do. Rotate that one around. Rotate that one around. And if they don't rally, then that should be the end of it. They're disrupted as well, that's good. Having the heavy crossbowmen with their swords is actually fairly useful. They're fragmented, they're going to run anyway. There we go. So the enemy has lost heart, you are victorious, which is great. So we ended up winning. Now the way it works is that we click on close and close that one through there. You want to close Field of Glory 2 Medieval and launch Kingdoms? Yes, we do. So we launch this one back in, and now we just load in the result. And so that then sort of gives us the results that we wanted. So you saw there, the first one was very hard for us to win. That was even hard though, but it was mainly the reason I like playing those is because the positional aspect of playing in that one is actually fairly cool. Yeah, it's actually. Delbert is in saying, lol, both generals killed each other. Yes, pretty much. It's all right, so let's now just go and import the latest one. So we just go and bring that one back in, and it then just picks up where it left off. So we'll now load in the results. It is slightly easier playing the Kingdoms battles because they, the Medieval 2 battles because they, Field of Glory 2 Medieval, because it's, you can actually sort of, as you saw there, I was able to use the forest a little bit to my advantage, and positioning. I was able to just sort of just break the AI a little bit. You see there, we didn't lose any units. They lost a few of their units, but they're still fairly strong. So we won that battle. The game still just then proceeds. We're not going to be able to fight there, though. We're going to have to move back. So that's not going to be any good for us. Still way up in the top, which is great. That's where we want to be. So what we'll ultimately find is that if we should end up with the sedition from nobility is now sort of trying to pull us right down, but we're still actually raising up. We're getting really quite nicely done up there. Now we're like their forces are just too strong for us, so I'm going to definitely come back out of there. But I've actually run out of time, guys, so I'm going to leave it there. So anyway, thanks for watching. But that was good, actually. I mean, it certainly it was good to be able to get on top of the authority, which is super important. Really just need to be at 55 or more, and then we're okay. So that's about all you need to do for the game. Actually, we're now running out of metal, manpower, because we're now outside of our territory. So I'm going to move back away again. Just going to bring them back in. In fact, they're really... I wonder if they shouldn't go back the other way. Let's get that army. Come on, where are you? I can go back into the garrison there. Yeah, I'll try to clean up the people. I'll go back to there. But anyway, I have run out of time, guys. So we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow, actually. I've got a stream on Slytherin, so I'll probably be playing that one before anything else. And may play something on my own channel as well. But anyway, we'll see how we go. I'll catch you then if you're around.